critics agree. Plane soars.
Get him on board, let's have a good flight.
The first great action movie of the year.
I like this guy.
Pure cinematic adrenaline. Just plain fun.
Full throttle.
Will Tom Brady retire?
He probably should walk away, Skip, but no one wants to walk away on a down note. Considering how he played the entire season, considering how he played on Monday night, he doesn't want to leave on that note. And I get it, but it's just hard to walk away, Skip, when you've had the career that he's had, and to walk away on that down note. Now, he probably should have left well enough alone, and when he left last year, stayed, because what we were talking about, Skip, 5,000 yards passing. I think he had 5,000 yards passing, 43 touchdowns, led the league in passing touchdowns. I think he was second to Justin Herbert in passing yards. So he probably should have left on that note, and then everybody, myself included, and I know you would have said it, you see what he did. He had another year in him. Now people are starting to say, I don't know. Should Tom just go ahead and walk away? And I'm sure he's having some of those thoughts himself. But as he surveys the landscape, okay, who wants a 46-year-old quarterback? And do we have the necessary tools to prop him up? You need an outstanding offensive line. You need young, talented, uber-talented wide receivers. Because now, Skip, it used to be Tom Brady could take average guys and make them extraordinary. Now he needs extraordinary guys to make him. So for me, I just think he probably should step away. But the team, as I'm looking out there, says, okay, where do you think he goes? I think the Raiders are probably the best option because he's very familiar with the head coach. He was his offensive coordinator for at least a decade, off and on. They got a very, very talented skill group, wide receivers. Devontae Adams is a first-team All-Pro again. Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing. Now, do you bring him back? What's going to be the number that you bring him back at? I like Hunter Renfrow. I like Darren Waller, who was nicked all year long, but he's still a top 3, top 4 tight end in all of football. So with that being said, Skip, and you look at the other all-time greats. Jordan. We just look at Jordan. You told me so many times before, I don't even look at I don't look at those watching the year.
I don't. I just gave it up. I gave in to him. I just kept saying he earned the right to go do that. If he wants to subject himself to that, be my guest.
Yes. So when he came
remember, he'd been out for 3 years.
Okay, so Jerry Rice ending in Seattle. That's a trivia question. Yeah. Where did Jerry Rice?
I don't remember.
Exactly.
But I do remember him ending with the Raiders in the Super Bowl, and he was pretty good.
He was pretty good, yeah. Over 100 yards. I think he had 2 touchdowns in that game. And Willie Mays. Yeah, he stumbled around the outfield for the Mets, Skip, but he's still arguably one of the top 5 players to have ever played the game.
He's in my top 5.
And Tom Brady will still be able to hang that on his resume. Do y'all remember those 10 Super Bowls? I won 7 of those things. I got 5 MVPs. So for me, Skip, I think he probably should step away, but that's his decision. And I know one thing about great athletes, Skip. They do not want to end on a down note.
Okay.
So if anything, he's going to want to come back and try to rectify the wrong that was this season.
Remember his message when he unretired? Yeah. Unfinished business, right?
Yes.
Well, I think he's still got even more unfinished business, right? 8 and 10 worth of unfinished business, right? Okay. You make a lot of good points. Everybody is making a lot of good points because pointedly, a lot of people are now saying, ooh, it's time to go home. All I've heard for the last 24 hours is Tom just looked old. It's starting to feel awkward. Where is this heading? Please, Tom, give it up. Give it a rest. Hang him up.
Right.
His father, once upon a time, this is maybe 10 years ago, told the New York Times, I'm afraid they're going to have to put him in a straitjacket and pull him off the football field. And maybe that will be the case at some point, which would probably indicate he would try to play again next year.
Yeah.
And now stories are coming out of the woodwork that this, that, and the other team wants him. And the one on the Raiders is that somebody inside the Raiders considers Tom Brady a program changer for the Raiders next year. Program changer. And as I have reported for now, I don't know, it's been 3 weeks, month maybe. I know for a fact the people inside the Buccaneers want him badly to come back.
Right.
And even a month ago, they were saying we still consider him better than 99% of the quarterbacks in this league, all told, all of his wisdom and just on the experience factor.
I mean, what in the actual fuck is that? I play the hand so well that the guy is going to give me all of his money with ace high and then he rivers an ace. You know? Like, what exactly is that? He's just going to give me all his money with ace high, but then the river is an ace, and now I'm supposed to be, like, sitting there with less than a pot-sized stack trying to read minds instead of just playing poker, which is what I was doing for the first while there in the hand. So we charged him. Like, if we go all in on the turn, he folds. When we bet a fifth pot on the turn, he's going to call me when he's not supposed to because he has 3 outs with 1 to come. He's not getting the math. The only way I could have played the hand better was by folding the river.
At the top of their list.
He's a top draw, Skip.
Okay.
They sell out every home game
Okay.
now.
All right. Got it. Now, here's what's amusing to me.
So
about the
silly.
Picture this. Once Tom hit 40, now he's shattering the mold because after 40 you just can't. You can't do this anymore.
No.
It's just too hard.
Right.
But after he hit 40, something changed pretty dramatically. He needed some protection, just a modicum, he needed a respectable amount of protection because he's not going to stand firm anymore because he can't.
No.
He's too smart. If he's going to last any longer, he can't take what you'd call a quote-unquote kill shot, a career-ending kind of shot in the mouth, in the head, in the shoulder, whatever it might be. You just...
You know that unwelcome guest everyone wishes would just leave already? That's COVID-19.
Can't subject yourself. He's too wise for that. He's been doing this for too long. He knows I got to take some punishment. I thought he took some the other night.
He did.
But the point is, you can't take that shot, which created that throw that got intercepted in the back of the end zone, and it was the game changer the other night. And I think the whole thing swung on that interception, and he'd never thrown one as a Buccaneer in the red zone. He had 419 attempts before he threw that one.
Right.
And it was a duck away throw. It was, and I'm going to throw it. And he ducked so hard and so quick, he didn't get enough on the ball. And it hangs up there. And my defense has been, if nothing else, opportunistic because it led the NFL in takeaways. That's all I got going on my defensive side. And guess who was there? Jaron Kerr says, thank you very much. I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall.
Thanks, Bone Face.
Pull this in, and we just got out of this unscathed. We gave up no points.
He was about to be down 7-6.
About to be 7-6 thanks to my kicker. We're going to get to my kicker who kicked me right in the you-know-what. We'll do him in just a few minutes. Okay, so now I want to remind people of this. After Tom hit 40, when he looks bad in a football game, he looks go home bad.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm going to remind everybody. Just walk me back through this. What happened his final game as a New England Patriot? Do you remember this one?
Yeah.
It's at home against the Tennessee Titans. They lost 20-13, and I must say, I thought he looked pretty bad.
He did.
He looked, dare I say, and the game ended on a pick six by, guess who? Logan Ryan, now his teammate again with the Buccaneers.
Should have been 2 because remember he dropped one
he
right
dropped
before the
another
half.
one. Okay, but he just waltzes a pick six in at the end of the game. Tom goes 20 of 37 for 209 yards, no touchdowns, and that pick. QBR was below average at 41. They lost 20 again to 13. So he managed 13 total points in his final swan song game as the greatest New England Patriot. Okay, just remember that. Okay, then he goes in the pandemic to the Succaneers, and we're like, what, to the Buccaneers? They were 7-9 the year before, but Jameis was the turnover machine of all time. And we're thinking, well, if Tom can just kind of cut the turnovers in half, maybe they could be pretty good, and they started to be pretty good, but not in the first game because they got thrown into the fire at New Orleans. Right. And what's he do in the first game? He throws a pick six to Jack Rabbit. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And then, remember, his fourth game is at home against the Chargers, and he throws another pick six, this one taking back 76 yards. And people are saying, Tom, maybe you shouldn't have tried this. It's going to be embarrassing for you. You're going to look like Jordan in Washington. Then remember the fifth game at Chicago. Do you remember this? Do you remember?
Was that early? Was that early? Huh?
No, it was the fifth game. This is Thursday night at Chicago against Nick Foles, and it's dare I say, it's pretty pathetic. They managed
2019.
2019, you got it. Good memory. And they managed 19 total points. He threw for 253 and 1 touchdown, no interceptions, but he got sacked 3 times, and he got the you-know-what knocked out of him by Khalil Mack early in the 4th quarter. And I think he got concussed, but I don't know. He was stumbling and fumbling around, and it looked pretty sad at the end of that game. And then came the all-timer. Sunday night at home. This was in early November against New Orleans, their arch rival. They'd already lost at New Orleans. Well, they didn't just lose this time. They got blown off the field. It was 38-3. I'm going to remind everybody, Tom Brady scored a grand total of 3 points in that game. This is week 9. He threw for a grand total of 209, no touchdowns, and guess what? 3 interceptions, got sacked 3 more times, had a QBR of 4. 0 to 100 had a QBR of 4, which if you look at the whole year, I doubt there were maybe a couple under 4, but that had to rank. That had to be a bottom 5 QBR for the year.
Remember they kicked the late field goal to keep him getting shut out.
They did 38 to a late 3. Okay, just remember when he looked bad, he looked really bad. And the next day I had to come in here, and I can't remember what you said, but I'm sure everybody was saying, you know, Tom, you screwed this one up. You should have just called it a career.
That was when I think he threw another tablet.
I believe he did in that game. And yet, coming off that game, you know what happened. Suddenly they figured it out. The defense caught fire. He got better. They got better. They go to New Orleans and win a game against Drew Brees, and then they go up to Lambeau and somehow win a game against Aaron Rodgers, and they beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Okay, so he was capable of that kind of resilience off those kinds of pathetic performances in that year. Then we go to the next year, the game at New Orleans. It was week 8, but he threw another pick 6 that basically lost the game, and it ended the game. Do you remember this?
Yep.
Okay, and then the all-timer. It wasn't much more than a year ago. It was in early December at home on Sunday Night Football at Tampa, in that same stadium you just watched my Cowboys rock and roll in. He lost 9-0 in that game, 9-0, and it was just. It was all-time pathetic. It was indefensible. He threw for 214, no touchdowns, and a pick. Lost Chris Godwin to the knee injury. Screaming at the sidelines at Dennis Allen. And it was 9-0 because guess what? A little trivia question. Guess how New Orleans got their 9 points? Off the foot of Brett Maher, Brett the Fret. Last year, he was a New Orleans Saint and had a decent year for them. But he made all 3 field goals that he attempted, and they lost 9-0. Okay, so my point to you is, how can you get worse than that? And off that, he managed to bounce back, as he often has, and he looked pretty good against the against the Eagles in the first playoff game. And then he got off to a rocky start against the Rams, and then he gets going and he scores 24 unanswered. And you know what happened at the end of the game? They blow a blitz and they lose 20. What was it? 30-27. Yep.
Skip, but here's where I'm going to push back. Is that in that situation in 2019 it was
2-3 of spades. I river the straight, he rivers the flush.
In 2019 I gave you 3.
He leads the turn with a 3-high flush draw.
We saw maybe 2 games in which he played well.
And he hits the miracle river, the river that makes me a straight and makes him a flush.
What they're starting to see, and I think what people are starting to say, well, Tom, it's time to go home.
Am I supposed to be super scared of these 1 or 2 cards that villain can possibly hit that makes their hand better than mine? Like, am I not charging these guys enough for their 1-outers? Last guy hit an ace. This guy is hitting a spade with 3-high. I mean,
although I will remind you,
I could start building the pot sooner, acting like I'm fucking scared of something when I'm really not. And then, like, yeah. The boogeyman just comes to kill me anyway.
He throws for 432
I get killed by the boogeyman on the river every time anyway.
Here's what happened the other night. Very quietly.
Fucking crazy.
To cook in the second half because the Cowboy pass rush started to tire out. You could just see it. They started to give him an extra second in the second half, and they started to go fast. Remember, Tom Brady led the National Football League this year in 4th quarter yards passing and in 4th quarter touchdown passes. Why? Because they got forced to go fast. He's better.
He's better when he goes fast.
In some ways, he's calling his own plays, but they're just going faster. I don't like him when they play slow, and I don't think he enjoys playing slow. Because the slower they play, the older he looks. That's just me. But when they started playing faster in the second half, just very quietly, here's a trivia note for you. In the second half against my Dallas Cowboys, my game of the year by my Dallas Cowboys, would you believe that Tom Brady threw for, just in the second half alone, 255 yards?
Yeah, but Skip, they were Skip. But you got to realize they're down 3 scores.
Okay, I got it. But it's hard for any mortal to throw for 255. It's just a lot of yards because the defense is hot. It's leading the league in takeaways, and I don't care who you are, it's just hard to throw for 255 because if you doubled that, if you'd had that in the first half, remember his playoff record in that Super Bowl against Nick Foles was 505. So if you double 255, you break your own playoff record.
But here's the thing though, Skip. How many of those yards came in meaningful time? When the score was 6-0, 12-0, or 18-0. And now all of a sudden it's 24. And that's when all of a sudden when he starts to get those yards.
Although weirdly, if they had called the hold on Chris Godwin in the end zone and made that 2-pointer, and then if Mike Evans had caught the deep ball with 2 minutes left and they had scored a 2-pointer on that, all of a sudden it would have been an 8-point game, and then you'd have to pick your poison. Do we onside again, or do we see if we can hold them to a 3-and-out and try to get Brady 45 seconds or whatever?
Think about what you just said. All these things that got to go right for Tom Brady to win a game now. We never used to say, well, if they do this, if the Eagle land on the flagpole at noon and the wind doesn't blow from west to east, we got a chance to win this game. That's what we got to ask for, the Tom Brady to win a game now, Skip.
Hey, I don't want to undercut everything I said about Rain Dakota Prescott on Monday night, but I told you going into the game he was going to have all night long to throw the football, and he did because they can't rush the passer without Shaq Barrett. Shaq was all they had, the equivalent of Micah Parsons. He was their Micah Parsons, and remember, he was the star in 2020 on their Super Bowl run. What, in the Super Bowl or in any big game in 2020? Didn't he? Wasn't he the takeover king?
He's your one guy that can go get beat.
He's the one guy, and he tore his Achilles tendon against Lamar and the Ravens on that Thursday night, and that was the end of that deal because they can't rush the passer. Okay, so they wound up 28th in pass rush. They wound up dead last in running the football. They wound up in 24th in what's called pass block win rate. So they weren't protecting him the way they did the 2 previous years because the line was pretty much decimated and hit by retirements and all kinds of losses. But the point is that the defense, it wasn't half of what it was in the Super Bowl year because you saw what Dak did to the defense. He shredded it. He just stood back there, had all night long, said,
Hey, did you hear? There are new COVID-19 booster shots designed for recent Omicron variants.
I'm good.
You, and then I'll take you, and then I'll take that touchdown and that touchdown.
But also, Skip, they were also 31st in yards per attempt, which means Tom Brady is not pushing the ball down the field. They're also 25th in third down conversion rate, which means Tom Brady is not converting. And if you go back and look at the previous year, when he finished second, they were second in points. Now all of a sudden they're like 20th in points or 22nd in points. Everything that they were first or second in, they were still number 1 in pass attempts. They were still number 1 in pass completions, but touchdowns dropped. Yards per attempt dropped. Third down conversion, red zone conversion. So see, we keep looking at, okay, the defense wasn't what it was. How about Tom Brady isn't what he once was?
Okay, you can make that case. But I can also make the case that Pro Football Focus graded his receiving corps 19th best this year. 19th best.
What they grade him?
I don't know, but way down.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it. But let's remind everybody, when he had some time and when the chips got pushed to the middle of the table against Carolina, which at that point had a hot defense. Most people thought it was at least a top 10 defense under Steve Wilkes because that's his specialty.
Yep.
You remember what he did to Mike Evans? We could see those 3 throws. So he's still capable. I don't see diminished arm talent, but that's just me. If we could see, this is to Mike Evans against
Skip,
Carolina.
it's more than just arm talent.
Okay, look at the protection. Okay, he can still get it out there. However far it needs to be thrown, he's still capable.
Skip, I believe every starting quarterback in the NFL, if you give him that kind of time, could hit Mike Evans. What made Tom Brady and the great quarterbacks great is when they don't have that kind of time and they can stare down the gun barrel and still make those throws.
Those are good throws. Then the other night late, if we could see what happens, he hits Julio. It's a 30-yarder for a touchdown, and I thought Julio was going to be a godsend for him, and he just could not, as you predicted, stay healthy. He really wasn't healthy the whole year. No. So when they finally got some rhythm late in the game, he hits that for 30 yards. Then he gets Cameron Brate for 8 more yards. Had some mustard on that. And then this is the 2-minute throw to Mike Evans, and I don't know. I was surprised he didn't catch it because he usually catches those. Even if he had to lay out for it, I just thought he would have caught it.
Right.
And it would have made it
It's a fun run out to see.
long shot interesting. Right. Just long shot. Then at least you could have said, what are they going to do? Onside kick it or what? He does have a reputation for coming back, as he showed you 3 big times this year, 3 big comebacks. Okay, so in the end, there are teams out there that are very interested. I even read where, I think it was in USA Today, some speculation the Jets might be interested because they keep saying, their owner kept saying the other day, I'll do anything to get a quarterback. They keep saying we're a quarterback away because do they not have a talented defense? Well, sure they do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do they not have some skilled people?
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
they do. They absolutely
Yes.
do. Can they protect? I think their offensive line is pretty. I haven't studied it,
Well,
but
they
I
got
think it's pretty good.
Becton can't stay healthy.
No.
But they signed Dwayne Brown, who did doing a very good job.
Okay, so could they entice him to come for 1 year or whatever and bedevil the Patriots in the same division, get to play him twice? I don't know. But it does seem like there's still some interest. And because of that, and because of what you said about can you quit on 8 and going 8 and 10, I'm pretty sure he'll say, yeah, I'll try that or that or that. And,
but he's earned the skill. The thing that I look at is like his legacy. Well, Tom Brady built that legacy. Tom Brady gets to decide if he wants to continue to play.
Yep.
And I don't think, look, and we're gonna look back and say, well, remember his last year skipping Tampa? That thing didn't go well. If he plays another year, but you can't deny what the man has already done. 2 things can be true. He could play bad the last 2 years of his career and still have the most impressive resume of anybody that's ever played the sport.
Agreed.
Or anybody that's ever played any sport if you want to combine sports. So what Tom has been able to do is nothing short of miraculous.
Well, I got it. I appreciate that. The final issue that was raised, this is pure speculation, but our man Sean Payton, he has wanted to connect with Brady because they wanted to go as a package deal to the Dolphins, and then that got blown up.
Right.
But the point is, would Sean consider going to Tampa? I have no idea. It's feeling like the cupboard's too bare there.
Yeah.
Like there's not enough left there even for Tom to want to go back.
Skip, and they got a lot of guys that's making a lot of money that's older.
I agree.
And because they wanted to bring this thing back, and Skip, that's the thing is, like, when you win a Super Bowl, sometimes you just got to let guys go. Let them go to greener pastures, try to get younger. Well, they wanted to bring everybody back because they felt that was the way to repeat, was bring everybody back. And maybe you brought some guys back that were a little long in the tooth. Well, you got these guys on the contract, and you're like, now what, Skip? So Tom is looking at it like, I don't believe I can win a championship here.
Yep. And remember, you questioned whether Gronk would want to come back, and then it was reported he called Tampa to just sort of stick his toe in the water.
Right.
And they were like, well, we don't have any money.
Right.
Well, I need some money.
But if you think about it, Skip, Tom Brady, everybody is not like Tom. Everybody ain't give you the hometown discount. Gronk's like, I ain't give you no discount. I want all my money.
Yeah, he's to the point in his career where he says, if I'm going to go through that again, you're going to have to pay me.
You're going to have to pay me.
Yeah.
And so this notion that what Tom has done a lot of great things. But what Tom has done is he got all these other teams looking at the players like, you see what Tom did?
Yep.
Okay, and?
Yep.
And Tom got a nice little windfall waiting for him.
Does he? I'd say.
Gronk's like, I ain't got that. He's like, I got a nice little gig, but it ain't his gig.
No, that's a good point.
A lot of people waiting to see what Tom Brady decides to do and what Aaron Rodgers decides to do. Big dominoes for next season,
hopefully
guys.
takes his time this
All
time.
right, when we come back, Skip, thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1. Shannon, you know this game inside and out. Are the Giants going to target that shoulder for Jalen?
No, but they're going to attack the quarterback, and he has to have an injured shoulder that happen to be on the quarterback that we're going to attack. So, Skip, if I put him on his shoulder, so be it. If I hit him on that shoulder, so be it. I'm not going to do anything outside of the game of football to Jalen Hurts. But football is a very, very dangerous, violent game. And big men run into bigger men at a high rate of speed.
Yep.
And sometimes things happen. And if it happens, it happens.
Yep.
But am I going out there to try to like deliberately, or I'm going to try to like do a Charles Martin did on Jim McMahon? No, Skip. I'm not going to do that. But if I get a chance, an opportunity to put him on the ground, and he happens to land on that shoulder, oh well, I'm sorry, Jalen, but hey, it's football. Like he said, he understands that. What you do is you attack the quarterback. What was Al Davis' famous word? In the first couple of series, the quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. That's it. So with that being said, Skip, screw me. He's had a week off.
He's check raising me on the turn.
He had another week off. I think that shoulder is probably as healthy as going to get, given the time frame that we're dealing with, Skip. That his shoulder is as healthy as going to get. Probably going to get a little bit more medicine in there, and I think he'll be just fine. But the Giants are going to attack the quarterback because they know in order to win this game, you've got to attack Jalen Hurts. And if you can attack Jalen Hurts, the Giants feel they like their chances of winning. But they're not going to go out of their way to try to injure Jalen Hurts, but they will attack the quarterback and put his butt down.
Okay. Although, you have told me in the past that when you had this injury or that injury,
I ain't telling nobody.
Well, if it ever did get publicized, you suspected that people were taking shots at your.
Yeah. If they got me on the ground in my ankle, they twisted. Of
right?
course.
Yeah.
Of course. And if I knew a defender got a banged up knee or something, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna slice you, bro.
Okay, I do not doubt. Not that there's any bounty out. This isn't the bounty bowl.
Yeah, bounty will be
okay. Although, how do I know? Maybe there is, but the point is, are they going to discuss in their meetings that the quarterback for the opposition has a banged up right shoulder? Sure they are. And if you get your shot to hit him, especially when he's carrying the football downfield, they're going to hit him in the right shoulder and just see how it responds.
Right.
It's football. There's nothing notorious about it's just the way the game is played. It's the law of that jungle.
He doesn't get to have the defenders not hit him as hard as they normally would because he's playing with an injury. That's his decision to play with an injury. That's what you say. He can fucking not play if he's too hurt to play. No one's trying to hurt anybody. He can just sit out and they can start Gardner Minshew. If they're going to play Jalen Hurts, then he's going to get fucking whacked, just like everyone else on the field. That's all that needs to be said. It's that simple. It doesn't make us heathens. It's his fucking decision to walk out on the field with a hurt shoulder.
He is salt of the earth.
It's his fucking decision.
He's got as strong a football backbone as I've ever seen, and he is what you call
no one's making this guy play hurt. No one's doing that.
Weight room and on the sideline and the huddle.
It's up to him.
Dinner on whatever Wednesday night.
Club ball.
I don't like the Eagles. I've never liked the Eagles because I grew up not liking the Eagles, but it's hard not to like him. And I admire what he did this year, and it hurts me, hurts my soul, because I think he was positioned to win the MVP, and he got hurt.
Right.
Speaking of hurts, he got hurt. And it was just one of those things that happened because he does run with the football, and the rule that protects him.
That's what happens to a lot of these running quarterbacks is they all get fucking hurt, which is why pocket passers might be more valuable than people think. Lamar Jackson's hurt. Jalen Hurts is hurt. All the running quarterbacks are hurt. They always get hurt. Michael Vick got hurt back in the day. RG3 got hurt.
I just keep getting the sort of inklings from them that it's still a problem for him. It bothers him because it's probably going to bother him the rest of this year until the offseason, right? Okay, so the reason my emotions are so mixed and torn over this is
Cam Newton got hurt.
But now I definitely don't root for them because would I not love it if my team managed to go win a game, or you could even, I'll go so far as to steal a game at San Francisco.
Right. And then get a home game.
And then get a home NFC championship game to go to the Super Bowl. Our first NFC championship game in 27 years, which could lead to our
He's saying now he's talking about the Cowboys winning and the Giants winning and the Cowboys hosting the championship game. Now he's really dreaming.
Wow.
Giants could do it, though.
It'd be like miracles come true.
Right.
It'd be like meant to be.
Yes.
Destiny. Now, your favorite expression about cowboy things, the cowboyest thing they could do is then lose it's not a rubber match, it'd be the third meeting with
Yo, what's up? Oh yeah, no, I was Puntface earlier. Yep, still Puntface's message.
Then that would be a cowboy thing,
that
right?
would be a cowboy thing.
We're making our way.
Every week on someone's head because the opposing team is trying to rip your head off.
Well,
So
sure.
that's what it is.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
There's a bounty on me everywhere.
Exactly. But Skip, I love what Jordan Mailata, the left tackle, said. He said, speaking of Jalen Hurts, if he's got a bounty, I've got a bounty. It's my job to make sure that bounty isn't claimed and do everything I can to execute the right technique, the right plays, and make sure he stays clean. I get dirty. See, that's what you love to hear. But Skip, the problem is that I'm not worried about Mailata. I'm not worried about Dickinson. I'm not worried about Kelsey. I'm worried about the right tackle. And Thibodeau's going to line up over there. Thibodeau. Thibodeau.
Okay.
Thibodeau.
Yeah,
Thibodeau.
He says he might try to suck it up and try to go, Lane Johnson.
But Skip, you know that
I know.
Man, I don't know if anybody ever had no abdominal strain.
Yep.
But I think he has something worse than that. He might
Sounds like it.
Yeah,
Sounds
he might
like
have
a tear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck all that quick.
Yeah.
I wish it
King
was,
High is good.
but
Oh, I
thing is,
love
I'm
it.
not sure you can shoot that.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, they're not gonna, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But Skip, can Jalen protect himself? Can he be good enough in the pocket? And then, like you said, when he gets out of the pocket, that extra yard, we don't need it, Jalen. Slide. Get out of bounds. We don't need you to take any unnecessary punishment. Now, fourth quarter, the game's on the line. You throw caution to the wind, Skip. If I got to go head first to get that first down, I got to do what I got to do.
Yep.
But early in the ball game, nah, I'm sliding. I can't risk.
Checkout
Sliding.
conversions increased 28%.
You sliding.
Risk it in that situation because they're coming. Now, because they know. Caution to the wind, Skip. If I got to go head first to get that first down, I got to do what I got to do.
Yep.
But early out of bounds. We don't need you to take any.
I don't know. Let me watch this.
Yeah.
I wish you well, but and the thing is,
I'm not sure you can shoot that one either.
you can't. You can't. They're not gonna.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But Skip, can Jalen protect himself? Can he be good enough in the pocket? And then, like you said, when he gets out of the pocket, that extra yard, we don't need it, Jalen. Slide. Get out of bounds. We don't need you to take any unnecessary punishment. Now, fourth quarter, the game's on the line. You throw caution to the wind, Skip. If I got to go head first to get that first down, I got to do what I got to do.
Yep.
But early in the ball game, nah, I'm sliding. I can't risk it in that situation because they're coming. Now, because they know, hey, the LT chop, I'm going to chop that shoulder.
Yep.
But that football, Skip, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to hit him after the play, hit him in his back, anything like that. But if it's close, I am going to shove him on the ground and say, hey, it's his job to land. Don't land on that shoulder. That's not my job to prop him up.
Okay.
He doesn't have to be playing if he's too hard to play. What's the point? He's a person on the field, and you're in the field of combat, sir.
Intensifies is because starting on Christmas Eve at Dallas, that defense started getting exposed.
Yeah.
Because my team put up 40 points on that
Yeah.
defense, and they had some short fields because there were 4 turnovers,
Right.
4 takeaways by my team. But still, you could just see it starting to unravel a little bit where they started losing their confidence as a unit.
Right.
And then without Lane Johnson, the offense started to struggle on top of that. Then without Jalen, the X factor looms even larger because can he suddenly sort of shake off the rust that he's starting to
Can he
experience?
get the MVP form that he had
It's hard, man.
pre-injury?
It's just hard. Okay, so I was doubtful that my team could, as CeeDee Lamb predicted, flip the switch,
Right.
but it flipped.
Right.
And they were healthy, and they were happy, and they took off. So I'm hoping they stay taken off as they go all the way to San Francisco, and we see what happens on a short week. But this team is like my team. It's sort of stumbling backward, and
Oh, shit. Wait a second. Oh, man. Wait a minute here. Okay. I didn't think about that. That some of these playoff teams are going to get more rest than others. This guy's limping, man? What the fuck do I make of this? Some of these playoff teams are gonna have like short rest, and some like the Cowboys played Monday, they're playing Sunday night at least, so that's more fair. I thought they were playing Saturday. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. No, they're playing Sunday night, Dallas. So they got, and they're on the West Coast. Dallas doesn't get much of a rest here, huh? So this guy is limping the trap, and we suck out on the trap. Wow. That is a run out for us. Holy shit. I can't think of what teams played Saturday and what teams played Sunday last week. The Giants played Sunday, right? Now they're playing Saturday, so the Giants have a short week. Dallas has a short week. Everyone's got a short week except San Fran, right? San Fran played Saturday. They don't play till Sunday. They're getting the longest rest of anybody, San Fran, right? And they're the home team on the West Coast. It's fucking bullshit. Buffalo played Saturday and they're playing Sunday at home, so they get a really long rest. And Cincinnati's getting the short week. Some of these teams are getting longer rests than others. I think that's kind of fucked, but I mean, I guess there's no way to have it not be that way.
Actually, so. Weirdly,
no excuses.
An extra week.
No excuses for the G-men.
Yeah. But I think it needed to play some football because I think it. You know and I know in that locker room they have to have some doubts about themselves.
Well, you need to start fast. The one thing that you don't want to do, Skip, is that we made the mistake, I think, in the championship game, the second year of the repeat, we started slow. And the Jets jumped out on us 10-0. And we're at home. Yeah, we're at home. I think we were 14-2 and they finished 13-3. But
what was this, like Chad Pennington or no?
Vinny Testaverde.
Oh, Vinny. Okay.
Vinny Testaverde.
All right.
But the thing was that when they jumped out to that
Parcells and Testaverde with the Jets.
The defense forced 6 turnovers. So they wasn't able to build on it. And the next thing you know, we get our momentum and the final score is 23-10.
Okay.
But man, it was like, bro,
this guy's limp jamming.
Scored a touchdown, Skip. We kicked the ball off. They let the ball.
Does he really have aces?
We jump on it. It's 14-10, and next thing you know, we don't look back.
Okay. All right. That's what they need.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want. Because the Giants are feeling good, Skip. They just went on the road.
Hey, if anybody's peaked in this whole tournament, it's that team in New York.
And
if any quarterback has found himself, it's that quarterback in New York.
Skip, we went there with our backup. We played no starters. Y'all played all y'all starters, and you only beat us by 6.
Yep.
Now we're coming back with our full arsenal, our full game plan. You see Daniel Jones, Saquon, all those receivers are stepping up, making plays, and that defense. Lawrence guy.
The defense for the Giants is looking better. All of a sudden, people weren't talking about their defense all year. Now they are.
Now that offensive line is going to have to be at its best, but Thibodeau's on the other side.
Thibodeau and Adoree Jackson and Dexter Lawrence.
Then they got Adoree Jackson back, and he did.
All of a sudden, we're hearing the names of these Giants defenders that we haven't been hearing all year.
He was pretty quiet.
Well, the thing is, like that, we're going to see now with Devontae. This is why you got Devontae, and you got Watkins, and you got other guys. If they take AJ away. Now that's why you got a Devontae Smith. That's why you got a Watkins. That's why you have those other guys. I like Goddard. Goddard is back now. He has a couple more weeks up under his belt.
Sure.
Time to go to work now.
But you know and I know, these games at this high of a level, it just comes back to your quarterback.
Yeah.
Which quarterback will outplay the other quarterback? Right. Will it be Jalen over Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic?
Oh, it's always
or the other way around?
Yeah.
Because
can I say Vanilla Vic?
Is wrong.
Vanilla Vic.
I don't know what Brian
oh shit! Imagine if they were saying that about a black player, calling him chocolate, something like how much trouble they'd all be in. But you can call Danny Dimes Vanilla Vic, I guess.
Ran 4.7 at the combine, but we both
Makes
agreed
no sense, but it's right.
Or 5. So to me, boy, I like the Giants with the points, but I'm starting to think the Giants have a real good shot at winning this game.
Vanilla Vic.
Absolutely.
He has so many nicknames, Daniel Jones. He's obviously one of the best players in the league. Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic.
You already know what y'all have.
Could be.
Y'all win it. If y'all beat San Francisco, y'all lose championship game. That's Cowboy. Y'all beat them. Yeah, that's what y'all do. Y'all Cowboy.
But what if we don't? What if
you're gonna lose to the Niners anyway. It doesn't matter.
What if we do America's team
Wake up.
things?
You're not supposed to be sleeping out here because you're dreaming. If you think you're going to San Francisco,
He's dreaming.
But think about Shannon Sharp going to Phoenix and having to deal with Cowboy Nation because we're going to be doing shows at Phoenix.
Be a remote. I'll be right here in studio.
With live crowds.
I'll be right here in studio.
And if we opened up our show to live crowds at Phoenix and Dallas was in the Super Bowl, guess what the crowd would be decked out in? Nothing but metallic blue.
You do realize the last time the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl, where were they at?
They were there.
Exactly.
I was there.
Exactly.
It was played in Tempe at that point,
exactly.
right?
Sun Devil Stadium.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you hoping for? That's what you're hoping for? Huh?
Yeah.
That's an omen.
Man, I was there. I went that night to the Super Bowl party that big tent right behind their hotel. And if you told me that night it would be 27 more years before this happens again, I would have said you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
I thought we might have a couple more in that dynastic run before it ended. Then, as you know, the injury god said, no, thank you very much. Dion started getting hurt, and Troy got hurt, and Michael got hurt.
And because your oldest guy of skill players was Michael Irvin. He was 27.
Yep.
He was 27 years of age in 1995 when they won their last Super Bowl. And you just knew.
Okay,
You just knew, Skip. They're like, man, they're going to give out 2 or 3 of these
I know. And the next thing I know, Michael Irvin is lying down on the carpet in Philadelphia. And they're all cheering because he's hurt, but he was hurt.
And then Troy, and then Emmett, and then
Time
it just
happens. That's what happens in your game. That's what happens. Attrition happens.
Emmett played till he was
Whose
fucking
year
a
is
million
it
years
this
old.
year? We'll continue answering that question this weekend, guys. That Giants-Eagles game kicks at 8:15 Saturday night only on the NFL on Fox. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows.
Damn. Michael Irvin got hurt in that Eagles game and he never played again. Hurt his neck. Cervical injury. Spine injury. Shit, I didn't know that. I didn't know that he had his career ended by a fucking neck injury.
What's up, Einstein?
My network has gone kaput.
You tried to save a buck on it.
Not so smart.
Well, there is a smarter way to save.
Oh.
Switch to Verizon.
That's right. For a limited time, get Verizon Unlimited for just $25 a line, guaranteed for 3 years.
Brilliant!
Only on Verizon.
my reaction to what it was last week when I told you what he was going to do, Skip. He gonna put that cloud over their head, and all of a sudden, I'm not going to hold Green Bay hostage. I'm going to have a quick decision here. Now, I'm not ready mentally or physically or emotionally to make a decision yet. I told you he was going to do this. But now we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to be in Green Bay, or is he going to be elsewhere? Those are only two choices because he's not retiring and leaving $60 million on the table. So it's only two choices. It's not like he got a plethora of choices. I can do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, you don't. You got two choices. You're playing in Green Bay, you're playing somewhere else. But I don't care where you play. You stunk your last game. If that was your last game in Green Bay, you were awful. Let's get that out the way. And again, Skip Bayless, I told you about him. I know him. This is what he said. And Gene, you read part of it. Do I think I can play? Of course. Can I play at a high level? Yeah, the highest. I think I can win MVP. Where's the championship? See, that goes to show you right there what's important to him. Individual awards. Normally, I would have said, Skip, do I think I can win a championship again? You absolutely, I think I can win a championship again in the right situation. He's thinking about an individual award. He's thinking about an MVP. Goes to show you what's important to him. Ain't no championship important because that's what he should have said. Ask Brady what he'd have said. Brady thinking about championships. He's thinking about MVP awards. Told you, Green Bay, you ain't learned your lesson yet. At some point in time, just move on. You're not going to win anything with him. You're not winning any more championships with him. He don't want to be there. He loves having the power over you guys. You got to beg him to stay. Aaron, we want you. What do you need, Aaron? What can we get you? Can we buy you more foam cheese head? Do you want some bratwurst delivered to your place? You want Scott McAllen's doing? What do you want? Johnny Walker blue or black?
How about some ayahuasca?
That's what he should have had.
Yeah. Oh shit, that's funny. He's queen. What the fuck? Look at these spots. Look at these spots we get.
Shannon Sharp.
What am I doing here? What am I doing with this hand? What am I doing with any of these hands?
4 months.
Yeah.
This is
Day one on
crazy.
this show,
What do I do with
dating
that one?
back to my
What do I do
time
with
on
this
the
one?
other show,
What am I doing now?
I have called this
What do I do
man
here?
out for what he is.
What are we doing?
A
Look at these spots.
blame-deflecting, finger-pointing
It's 2,700 in the middle.
of the highest order, and he has been too often overprotected by the media, and hopefully more and more the
Hey, what do you
media
want from
is
me?
seeing through his charade, because we have to do this every year.
It's a 3-turn.
And I am worn out from Aaron Rodgers. I have fatigue over Aaron Rodgers because he is everything that he's never been.
He calls.
And still remains.
I guess I'm
He is
bluffing.
low on intangibles. Brady high on intangibles, but Brady doesn't have near the talent that this
He's
man
raising
has.
me on the river.
Because this arm talent, as you said from day one on this show, is transcendent.
Yes.
As far as just pure throwing the football.
No fucking
I've
way.
never loved it as a purist because everything is off.
I'm outvoted. Blind versus blind. Or 1-on-1 or whatever the fuck it was. It was blind versus blind. He has a bigger full house than
Gets
me.
away with it, and he has a real nice sort of a knack for seeing it and feeling it and delivering footballs from an unorthodox position that get home.
Yeah.
And when he had Devontae Adams, they were as dynamic a duo. That was some magic that happened. And it was hard to beat until the postseason, and then it wasn't magic anymore because this guy is a choke artist. I don't care what you say, he's a choke artist, and I can show you game after game after game. He's now 7-9 since that long ago galaxy far away Super
We have 2
Bowl
pair.
he won because they were
Holy shit, look at that pot in the 5K.
Mike McCarthy is
It's amazing.
coach. They had to go on
The suit
road
of Broadway
trip,
pays
and
off.
The expectations were way down here. Nobody saw him coming. And remember, they went to Philadelphia and they barely survived Michael Vick in Philadelphia. Remember, he threw it to the wrong guy in the end zone at the end of the game, but he was throwing into the end zone to win the game.
Right.
And they went to Atlanta and they
Rolled over.
devastated them. And then they went to the Bears at Soldier Field, and he was very fortunate that my guy from Vanderbilt University, Jay Cutler, hurt his knee. I don't know what happened, but he wound up on the exercise bike the whole second half as the immortal Caleb Haney was
That
the
was a
opponent
fun.
at
I
quarterback
watched that
for
game.
Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron stunk in the second half of that game. He stunk.
Yep.
And they were lucky to survive, but they got to the Super Bowl, and then you know what happened. Our man Greg Jennings caught the breakaway touchdown pass. God bless them all. They did it. That was his one and only Super Bowl, and he won it.
Yes.
But since then, after he became a made man and made my coach a made man, that's how my coach got this job. It was over that one game, right?
Right.
He went 7-9. Now I can show you the 7 wins that he has are all flimsy at best. They're over Kirk Cousins and Joe Webb and the Des Cauditt game and the Odell boat trip game to Miami, then going up to Lambeau. I can just go on the 2 intergalactic field goals from Mason Crossbar at Jerry World.
Mason
It's
Crossbar.
like shaky, shaky, shaky. He's lucky to be 7-9.
That's so funny.
But the joke
Mason
is on
Crossbar.
the Packers. They gave him his guaranteed money.
Yeah.
They're stuck.
$59.5 million next year.
Yeah. And the next year they're on the
40-something million. Yeah.
It's like, isn't it 110 total?
Yeah,
something
what
like that?
110? This if he last year's salary and he plays this year, that'd be 110.
Okay.
And then he'll get $40 million the following year, which will make it 150.
Okay.
Skip, can I finish reading this? Skip, he's like the right situation is that Greenville or is it somewhere else? But I don't think you should shut down any opportunities. Like I said during the season, it goes both sides, like actually wanting to work together moving forward. And I think there's more conversation to be had. What else do you want them to do? They took Christian Woods. They took Romeo Dobbs. They give you receiver after receiver
It's
after
Christian
receiver.
Watson, not Christian Woods.
Christian Watson. Skip, what else do they want to get him? They gave you $150 million. They drafted you 2 receivers. They re-signed Elgin Jenkins. They Bakhtiari.
Yep. I don't know. Good questions. All good questions.
Both sides wanting to work together. They begging you to stay. But it's not good enough. Because the fact, Skip, that they took the quarterback, he still has not forgiven them for taking Jordan Love. What do you mean they want to work together?
Yeah.
I promise you, if somebody gave me $150 million, I think they want to work with me, Skip.
Yeah.
I don't know how everybody else out there in America, how do you think? If somebody gave you $150 million, do you think they want to work with you? If you play the quarterback position, Skip, and they draft receivers early like they did, I think they want to work with you.
I do
They
too.
re-signed some of the offensive line, the key pieces. I think they want to work with you. But this joker comes up with every reason to keep holding them hostage. But at some point in time, I don't blame him. I blame you for letting him hold you hostage.
It's your fault. You did it to yourself. And he dared you yesterday. He said, hey, I'm paraphrasing, but if they want to go forward with Jordan Love, great. I'll go elsewhere, right? Okay, so he's dangling over the heads of Packer Nation and the Packers. He's dangling retirement, trade, or else. Like, what do you... And he wants everybody in Packer Nation to get down on their knees again and say, please don't leave, Aaron. Please don't retire.
If I'm going to kids, okay, what can I get?
Yeah.
Somebody, what y'all got?
I would too.
Because I'm tired of this.
Yep, I have seen enough. I agree with you.
Don't
you know what? From what I'm told, they've seen enough, but they don't yet have the guts to go forward because you'd have to have the Jordan Love guts, man.
Yeah.
You'd have to do it.
Yeah, I always go back to what my grandfather told my aunts when they were grown and they were still living in his house. He said, don't grumble and stay.
Yep.
He said, don't tell me what an SOB I am in my own house. Get your own place. Don't tell me how unhappy you are in Green Bay, Aaron. Tell me you want out. Yeah, I mean, you're showing it, but I need you to say it. Because what you're going to try to do, you're going to try to shift the blame. I wanted to stay, but they pushed me out.
Yep.
Don't grumble and stay. Don't tell me, oh, if they want to work with me, it's got to be both sides. Get your butt out. Man, that's why I couldn't be no GM. That it right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm not finna kiss you, but I done gave you money. I done went, but you ain't got no, I mean, you ain't got no owner, but I done went to the board and said, this is what he wants, this is what we need to do.
Yep.
Can we do this? Okay, yeah, they gave him the money. And when you gave money, you gave more control. And now look at it. He throw it up in your face, give you his butt to kiss. Every chance he do, he give you his butt to kiss.
He does.
And everybody, and guess what? Gutekunst and Mark Murphy and everybody else got to walk around and kiss his butt.
They're kissing. Yep. They got no choice. Well, he's got the hammer. He's got the contract. It's guaranteed.
Well, somebody else said. I mean, you
Will
say
they?
in the right situation.
That's
Oh,
a good question.
can we, Raiders, Las Vegas. What y'all give me for?
Okay.
I let him reunite with Devontae. They got Waller. They got Renfro. Let him go reunite out there. But I got to get up off him, Skip. I just can't. I just can't. Enough is enough.
I wonder what the Packers would take back, because we saw what happened with the Cowboys with that receiver who went to Cleveland, right? Amari. And again, I'm not comparing Amari's situation.
But the quarterback's going to break some generate some
But Amari was making $20 million thanks to Washington wanting him.
Right.
And Jerry said, I've seen enough. I got to get out from under.
Right.
So what did he do? He took a fifth rounder back to just get out from under $20 million.
Right.
And you could say, well, did it cost him? I think they're going to be okay, but he's still very good.
But Skip, that's a lot of money to eat now. I mean, there are not a whole lot of teams that's going to be willing to eat $50 million.
Yeah.
So what, would I take a second and a third for it?
Okay, but they would have to be convinced that Aaron Rodgers could win them this next year's Super Bowl.
But he ain't concerned about that. He just told you he wanted to win an MVP. He ain't saying nothing about no championship.
Okay, but my point is, I wonder how little Green Bay would take back for him in a trade. Like, at some point, it's almost like whoever's trading for him would say, well, I'm not going to give you anything. I'll just take on the $50 million. I'll give you, a third or something.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Would Green Bay be happy getting a third rounder back for Aaron Rodgers? They might.
Yes. I mean, well, I ain't like I'm winning championships with him.
No.
So what actually, I mean, yes, he's talented. Yeah, he can wow you. But what actually have I won?
Okay.
Like I said.
And what has just happened? That's 3 times in a row he has lost the final game of the season at home.
Yeah.
And the first one was a home playoff game. The second one, I'm sorry, it was a home NFC championship game. The second one was a home playoff game.
And this was basically a playoff game.
Yeah, this was a playoff game. This was a playoff to get in the playoffs.
Right.
And you lost all 3 on the frozen tundra.
Yeah.
Right?
So what we gonna do about that, Skip?
You just say, I've seen enough. It's enough. We got to cut bait. We got to start over.
So, because what actually am I winning with Aaron Rodgers? What am I winning? The division? $50 million should get me more than the division title.
You're winning TV ratings. That's all.
It will be an interesting offseason, gentlemen, that's for sure. And hey,
Gentlemen.
Offseasons and decisions. Will Tom Brady win another Super Bowl if he lands in the right situation with the right team? Skip and Shannon unpack that one when we come back.
They'll unpack when we're back.
Get in the groove with up to 6% cash back at your favorite retailers. The U.S. Bank Shopper Cash Rewards Visa Signature Card rewards all your moves. The Shopper Cash Rewards Card, your one card for everywhere.
There's the narrative out there that, okay, now the Jaguars are playing with house money. But your experience as a coach and player, I mean, you can't just say, well, you know, if we don't win this week, not a big deal, we'll play with house money. But I mean, you have to embrace these opportunities. There's no guarantee you're going to keep getting them year after year after year.
Whether it's our money or house money, we're here. And it's a credit to those players in the locker room and the coaching staff for, you know, believing in each other, obviously working hard. What we've done down the stretch, you know, regardless of the mishaps, we're here.
Doug Peterson, Jaguars coach, first year. Wouldn't it be funny if he becomes the first guy to win Super Bowls with two different teams? Wouldn't have had that on the bingo card of the all-time great coaches who managed to win and none have Super Bowls with two different franchises. Peterson also said that they can play freely, they can play loosely. Something we've talked about. Nobody expected them to be there. Nobody expects them to win.
There's never been a coach who's won a Super Bowl with two different franchises. Interesting.
To that lower seed that wasn't supposed to be there. It's a dangerous spot for the Chiefs. And how about this fact? Although I'm not as
Don Shula should have done it.
Others, Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday, high school, college, or NFL. Well, how many Saturday NFL games has he played in 2 years?
Well, one.
2?
Yeah, I think
he's probably up to 2.
Yeah.
Well, he had the Saturday game, the Saturday night game.
Oh,
remember
right.
the NBC dinner he didn't come to?
Yeah, right.
Played that night.
Right.
And then this past Saturday. So he's 2-0, I think, on Saturdays in the NFL.
Yeah. It's a cool stat. You're right. I mean, it doesn't really hold merit going forward. It just speaks to, you know, again, he's been dominant everywhere he's been. He's been a stud, and you know, he's finally getting back into the stud conversation here in the NFL right now, where he was kind of trying to find his way as a young quarterback, but he's jumped on the scene in a big way. This would be an interesting one because, like you said, there's some psychology there. They go, it plays right to the Jaguars' hands. There's also, I could flip it around and go, you know, I know they played there in the regular season, and I know they have a playoff game under their belt, but they played a team that really doesn't know what the playoffs are about in the Chargers, nor, you know, again, no disrespect, Jacksonville, the stadium, it's not necessarily known for to be crazy and, oh, it's so loud and such a tough environment to play in. They're going to walk into something this week that they have not experienced as NFL players. They're not. They're going to see a team that knows what type of intensity and, you know, emotional, you know, output that is needed for playoff football, let alone a team that's going, we want another freaking Super Bowl. So that's where it gets interesting. You know, like I said, they did have a little taste of it in the regular season, so maybe that helps them out. But that's where I am interested in being on the field, you know, in the pregame on Saturday, kind of seeing the faces and the energy of Jacksonville as compared to the Chiefs. And that'll be something to watch for sure.
I keep thinking back to 1996, the year that, was it 96?
Which one are you
96,
talking about?
second year in the league for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Jaguars going out to Denver.
Right.
Beating
Elway and Shanahan.
The Broncos.
Yeah, Mark Brunell and company, right?
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah.
Them and Carolina Panthers.
I remember where, that was one of those moments, you know, there are some games where you remember exactly where you were. I remember exactly where I was watching that game. I couldn't believe that the Broncos were going down to the Jacksonville Jaguars in only their second season. That was the two teams, Jaguars and Panthers, both in their second seasons, got to the conference championship that same year. Giants-Eagles, long history. Eagles favored by 7.5. I was a little surprised by that point spread. Here's Jalen Hurts on whether he's worried that the Giants will target his injured shoulder when they play on Saturday night.
It's football. You know, I got a bounty on me every week. I go out there on the field, so go out there and just play my game. You know, whatever happens, happens.
Bounty's probably not the right word to use, given
It's
something
not
that happened
the right
11
word
years
to
ago.
use.
But look, that's the way it is with quarterbacks. Even though they don't talk about it anymore, it's frowned upon. It's part of the game. It's
Why are they saying this way? You can
Without
just say if he's hurt and he's playing, then he might take a hit. I mean, no one's gonna tackle him softer because he's got an injury.
Assault the quarterback, because if he's not able to play at the highest possible level, you got a better chance of winning the game. That's now unspoken, but it's still part of the reality. Even though the NFL has tried to put the quarterbacks in bubble wrap.
Why do they have to paint this as some sort of
guys don't want to hurt players.
malicious thing?
They don't, you know that, but they want to make.
He's
them
already
feel
hurt.
it. That's for sure. And if they get hurt within, feeling it, then so be it. That's how.
It's just like the complete wrong way to talk about this. And this is the second
they're not trying to hurt anybody.
video from two different people who have talked about it this way. It's like, are you trying to glorify violence or not? You guys have to make up your minds. You can't have it both ways.
One of the better players in football. He's,
Oh, they're gonna attack his shoulder.
Defend everything with their offense.
They're just like,
oh man, the quarterback design run or him scrambling. You just go.
they're just ridiculous. These media people.
And yeah, will some giant guys want to fall on him extra hard when he's running or getting sacked in the pocket? Yeah, they're going to probably let their body weight go a little bit, probably cognizant of that little shoulder issue there. It's a big-time game. We'll see. You know, it's interesting. Watching back that game the first time, I did that a little yesterday, or their first matchup, not Week 18 matchup. Giants did some good things on defense. They did. They made life hard on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. So that's, maybe they can slow them down. The Giants had a punt block, let up a big kick return, had a 4th down play call that should have been intercepted, if you remember, and Julian Love kind of went up and waited for the ball and let Devontae Smith catch it and score a touchdown. So we'll see. But, now Philadelphia also knows how they kind of defend them, too, and they got time to prepare for that, and they could have a few wrinkles off of that as well.
You made a good point that I want to make sure we emphasize, and I want to make sure that folks understand what I'm saying. There was a time in the NFL where, and I think it was pre-free agency, 70s, 80s, the teams truly hated each other.
Right.
There wasn't that cross-pollination among players where they did try to injure quarterbacks. The idea was you get the quarterback off the field, you get the backup in, you got a better chance to win. I think now it is more about rattling the guy who's in there.
Right.
Not injuring him, not knocking him out of the game, but giving him something to think about, making him think twice, the physicality that goes along with it. When you get the opportunity for the clean legal hit, you want him to think twice the next time around. You want him to be off his game. You want him to be rattled. I think that's how it goes now.
Yeah.
And there isn't what we may have seen in the 70s or 80s, where things did get a lot dirtier and there was more of a deliberate effort to try to get the starter off the field and get the other guy on as well. I know we got to move on, but there's another point. My son and I were talking about this last night as well. Who do you think the Eagles spent last week preparing for?
That's a good question. Well, I would think that they didn't spend a whole lot of time on the Giants because they have, some things in the bank already on the Giants, right? We played them twice. We kind of know them. So that's where, I would have expected. The
second game was the JV team, though. The second game was the JV.
I know. You're right. You're right. But you still watch film that week and do all that and prepare for them, right? So they got to have at least a little bit of a file on the Giants. I would guess the Bucks. I would guess the Bucks are probably the team they prepared for because, again, the same thing with the Cowboys, right? They got a little file on them a little to where I think you go to the team that, we don't have anything on yet. So that would be my 2 cents there.
I probably assume to some extent they had people working on all of them.
Yeah, I would
Bucks
think
be
so.
The one that they hadn't played this year.
You go a little harder on that.
You need to be ready in the event that that's the team you're going to face.
Right.
And then as of Sunday, by Sunday you knew it was the Giants, so it gave you that extra day. You didn't have to worry about the Bucks or the Cowboys anymore on Monday because by Sunday at 7:30 Eastern, unfortunately, you knew that the Giants
Big Blue
Bengals and Bills getting together. I can't believe it's only been 16 days ago.
It does seem like
weird?
forever
It's
ago.
been 16 days since DeMar Hamlin The Bengals and Bills got started. The Bengals were up 7-3. The game was postponed and then canceled following the Damar Hamlin cardiac arrest. Which offensive performance from the wild card round concerns you more, the Bills or the Bengals?
Easily the Bengals. Easily. You know, the Bills move the ball. The Bills just need to see the big picture and go, wait, we're up 17-0, and Josh Allen don't just throw a jump ball. And I know John Brown kind of screwed him over there, right? But that was a point in the game where you go, wait, we're in control of the game. They got Skylar Thompson. Woo, wee horsey. Hold on, slow down here a little bit. Let's play a little conservative. So I'm never worried about the Bills. The thing I worry about with the Bills is just they put too much on, you know, one guy's shoulders. Again, you know, couldn't really run the ball all that great last week. It's all about him. You know, it's miraculous throws. He's got guys like Cole Beasley and John Brown. Nobody in football wanted these guys on their team, and here they are playing, you know, huge minutes for them. I think that kind of speaks to that. So that's where I worry about them. But, you know, the Bengals is concerning. It is. We've seen this during the year.
I think the Bengals are going to win this. Now, more I think about it, the more I think the Bengals are going to win.
Kind of figure them out. They go, wait, we got you locked up. Joe Burrow's got nowhere to throw. And I think what compounds that even more now is we got 3 out of their 5 starting offensive linemen out, and that's an issue. You know, so that's going to affect them as is compared to the way they were when they played the Bills in the Damar Hamlin game. It changes things here a little bit. It's advantage Bills defense a little, the fact that they're beat up front, and now they might not have to worry about the run game, and their pass rush might be able to get there a little more quickly. So I'm more concerned with the Bengals, Mike. The Sunday games shaping up to be awesome, really all weekend. But Bengals, Bills, Cowboys, 49ers, that's the last one. That's the Sunday night game, 6 o'clock.
That's going to break the ratings meter.
Forward to in that matchup.
Yeah.
Oh, they did $30.6 million on Monday night for a crappy game between the Cowboys and the Bucks. Can you imagine what this Sunday night's going to do? When the Cowboys and 49ers get together.
It's going to kill.
What's your number one thing?
Well,
number one thing.
You know, I think the first thing is the 49ers do have an advantage here just from something you just brought up, Mike, right? That they got 2 extra days of rest, and if they were smart,
3-ball.
They've already played the Buccaneers. So they should they probably have gotten a head start on the Cowboys to go, wait, we haven't played them, so let's just go all in on the Cowboys here for, 48 hours, right? And if it's the Bucks, okay, so be it, but we got a little base there anyways. So they have an advantage there. I think the big thing for me is just can Dallas find the right combination of stopping that awesome run game without compromising themselves to a point where, the Shanahan special play action.
The Cowboys are fucked.
Plays just absolutely, don't gash them. That's the thing I'm interested to see. But, man, you talk about studs and freaks on the field.
How the hell are the Niners only favored by 3.5?
This weekend with freaky guys on a football field. It's going to be awesome.
Plenty of people on the outside have complained about the Cowboys having to turn it around on a limited time, fly home, fly to Santa Clara. The 49ers are home. They get 2 extra days. Yada, yada, yada. But you know what? Jerry Jones didn't say him boo because he understands money.
Yeah, that's right.
Pocket Kings in the 33.5K.
He is king, right?
Holy
and
shit.
The Cowboys are
could be amazing.
When it comes to NFL on TV, and that should be a great one.
We're in against Ace Queen and 4s,
Great
dude.
this weekend. And high stakes. All winners qualify for the conference championship. Hi, it's Mike
Pocket
Florida.
Kings is the hand that we're going to lose a humongous pot with. Pocket Kings. Pocket Kings. Can't win with Kings. Pocket fucking Kings.
Oh, hey. What?
Jeez. I mean, if you can't win with Kings, can you win at all? Like, we lose with these Kings so much. Kings, Kings, Kings. Every day I can't win with Kings. Have you ever watched a streamer lose with Pocket Kings as much as I fucking lose with Pocket Kings? It's out of control, man. It's actually like out of bounds, out of control at this point.
To be one of the remaining quarterbacks in the NFL playoffs. So here is our draft for today. The divisional quarterback confidence. Down in the fourth quarter, specifically. If you're down in the fourth quarter, which guy do you have the most confidence in? Off we go with round one, and I know who you're going to pick.
Well, yeah, you do. I mean, we know who the first 3 picks here are, I think, But, yeah, I'm going Patrick Mahomes. Of course I am. I mean, he's the MVP of football. He's been the most consistent this year. There's just nothing that makes the guy, blink in anything. I know he threw an interception in overtime last year in the AFC Championship game. It wasn't because he
Thanks,
was
Sarah McClelland.
scared or didn't see something. He goes for it. He does. So Patrick Mahomes is clearly one for me.
I'm torn between Josh Allen and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, right.
I'll go with Josh Allen just because he's incapable of throwing short of the sticks ever. If it was 4th and 40, he wouldn't throw short of the sticks. So I got a whole thing right now about throwing short of the sticks. So give me the guy with the strongest arm in the sport, and I'll have confidence that in the 4th quarter, on 4th down, no matter how long that 4th down is, he ain't throwing the ball short of the sticks.
Well, honestly, I mean, this is a guy that I know hasn't won the Super Bowl and MVP yet, but I don't think any of us, if he gets the ball last, we always go, well, they're going to score. I mean, he's gotten to that point, let alone like we talked about earlier. I mean, I don't think anybody has to deliver more plays for their team than Josh Allen. So that leads to some craziness at times. But I think if you took, like the 40 best throws in football this year, I think Josh Allen would probably dominate that list as far as like, oh my gosh, whoa, that's unbelievable, those throws, certainly. And I would go with Allen. Burrow's going to be my next pick, yes. I mean, again, we've seen Burrow go on the road and win 3 playoff games on the road last year, and we saw him go against the Super Bowl champs, the Rams, in that game and have them up against the ropes, and they weren't as good as the Rams. So Joe Burrow is, these 3 guys, to me, there's really, it's nitpicking. We're talking about the studs of studs here, and they're certainly not going to be flustered by the environment, the circumstances, or anything like that.
Now, let me make sure, point of clarification. Down in the 4th quarter means down a score, not down like 20, right? You're down, you need a drive, you got to have it. Okay. You know what?
Where are you going to go here?
I'm going to give in to recency bias. We just saw the guy do it 4 days ago. I'll take Trevor Lawrence. We've seen him do it in this round of the playoffs, in this year of the playoffs. Not this round, obviously, but we saw him do it last round. Give me the guy who went to Waffle House, because he's playing on house money, and I look at it this way. If the Jaguars keep it that close, that they do have the ball down a score in the 4th quarter, that means they've weathered the storm. That means they've dealt with the noise. That means they've adjusted to everything. That means they have the game going their way. I'll take Trevor Lawrence in that spot.
Again, I don't think there's a lot of wrong answers here. That's for sure. And Trevor is another one, like we just talked about. I mean, I think he's on the trajectory to, that stratosphere of the guys we're talking about here as it looks right now. Woo, man. All right. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. I am. You ask me the guy I trust down a score, 4th quarter like that.
Sure you don't want to go Gardner Minshew?
Well, you're funny. I know. Oh, gosh, I hate Jalen Hurts. I know. Shut up, everybody. I know. It's like, it's unbelievable how that took a life of its own. But Jalen Hurts, yeah, in those situations, and of course, Jalen Hurts is damn good. He's damn good. And he is tough to stop in those moments. I mean, 1, he's a good decision maker throwing the football. 2, his ability to escape the pocket or have a quarterback design, quarterback draw like we saw in the last seconds of the Indianapolis Colts game. There's a lot to defend with him. And like these other guys we talked about, I mean, nothing phases Jalen Hurts. Nothing. And that's his greatest quality. He wouldn't blink if he was standing in front of a freight train. He'd still be like, okay, yep, it's football. I know freight trains come, and I'm going to just have to do the right thing here. And he's awesome that way.
This one's tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we saw, down in the 4th quarter, because look, the Cowboys' formula isn't be down in the 4th quarter.
No.
The Cowboys' formula, if they want to win, is be up convincingly in the 4th quarter. You don't want to be in a spot where you got to have that one last drive. We saw how that went last year. But because Dak Prescott was so freaking good on Monday night, I'm going to assume that he's turned a page. So I'll take him because he's more proven than the other 2. And that's nothing against Daniel Jones or Brock Purdy.
I hear you.
There's no wrong answers here. These guys are all left for a reason. There are many other quarterbacks that would be farther down on the list. But I'll go Dak Prescott to wrap up round 3. I really do feel bad that Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy are the last two.
That's
I hate
okay.
to do this round because that leaves one piece of cheese standing alone. All right, so who would you take between Purdy and Jones? You're the one who's leaving the cheese standing behind.
I know. Well, yeah, I know. I think it's logical that these two are the last one standing. I'm taking Daniel Jones, yes. I mean, I don't trust the rookie in this moment as much as Daniel Jones. We've seen he's very comfortable in being down one score, being in that type of game all year. And he's another guy that just, like the rest of them, he's never blinked. He's been booed since the second he got to New York. He never blinked. He just stayed the course. And I mean, again, this is tough picking here. But yeah, I'll go Daniel Jones, and now you got Brock Purdy.
Well, and Purdy's completely unproven in that setting because the 49ers are so good, they're not down in the fourth.
No, we haven't seen it
You
yet.
don't need your quarterback to make a drive. You don't need Joe Montana to roll to his right and find Dwight Clark at the back of the end zone. You don't need Joe Montana to go into the huddle and say, hey, look, there's John Candy over there, and calm everyone down and take it right down the field with the touchdown pass to John Taylor to win Super Bowl 23. You haven't needed that. This team just comes out and kicks the crap out of everybody. So, that is, and you'll hear justification from teams at times. Oh, we got a tough game. That'll help us later. There is something to be said.
Definitely.
For having been in a tough spot and processing it and not freaking out because you've done it before. You've got something you can access in your brain, in your memory bank. Brock Purdy doesn't have that and may never have that playing for this 49ers team.
No, that'd be interesting. And if it got down into that, I would go, that's advantage Cowboys. The Cowboys, if it's like that, it's going to be like, oh, Cowboys are going to feel that. They're going to know they're not supposed to win the game, and they're going to thrive off of those kind of moments. It'll be interesting to see. I wouldn't be shocked if it came down to that on Sunday night.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and
The big game and Valentine's Day shouldn't go together, kind of like low prices and high quality. Yet Lidl's found a way for them to live in perfect harmony. Is Lidl rewriting the rules of the big game of love? Lidl.
Wow.
Hey.
Are you giving Jacksonville a chance? Remember the prince who was promised, your guy? We had the trumpets and the snare.
Oh, no,
drum.
I'm well aware.
Okay.
And the first time we brought the trumpets on, when you guys were laughing at me, many times you guys said I was wrong, and then you just had to apologize quietly off the air about it. When
We
did
were
I tell
laughing
you,
at you Monday,
When did
too.
I tell you they
didn't
were
see that?
they were going to go undefeated until
Chiefs. He
the
did call
divisional round in Kansas City, and that was before the brackets or playoffs were set, and yet we have a divisional round game in Kansas City. And the Jaguars are there. So now I must look into the camera and talk to my good friends of Northern Florida and say, this is where our delightful dance must end. However, not permanently, just temporarily, just for the year. Because the Chiefs are going to annihilate the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Annihilate.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know how sometimes when teams get sold and they do franchise valuations side by side, like, wow, if the Clippers sold for this, what's this team worth? I would like to compare the Jacksonville Jaguars as a franchise to another billion-dollar franchise. If we can put it up side by side. They were both founded in 1995. One is the Jags, the other is Patrick Mahomes. They have the same number of playoff wins. Mahomes has more conference championship appearances, about to be 5. Of course, more Super Bowl appearances, more Super Bowl wins, and more league MVPs. And so that is the
projection.
Okay, well, only the bottom part's a projection. Everything else is what he has done. But we all agree he's going to
The
win.
Jags have been to 3 conference championship games since '95, but have never won it and never gone to the Super Bowl.
This year by double digits when there had only been one game in the regular season all year where a team lost the turnover battle by at least 3 and then won the game. That was Chiefs over Jags. Maybe you expect me to talk about Andy Reid being 27-4 off a bye. But there's a Chiefs stat I've kind of been holding in reserve that I think will shock you guys.
Okay,
because it's not just that it's Mahomes and the offense. After the Philadelphia Eagles, do you know which team sacked the opposing quarterback the most in the NFL this year? Those Kansas City Chiefs. 55 sacks this season, only the Eagles had more. And Chris Jones won't win Defensive Player of the Year because Nicky Bosa will, but he'll show up on the top 3 of a lot of ballots. So this is a game where Trevor and the Jags, they've had a wonderful season. They have proven the prophecy true, but now they're going up against the kings of the conference in their kingdom, Arrowhead, and they're going to lose. And I think it's going to be more dramatic than the first meeting, which the Chiefs won by 10.
Okay, I must say this. The kingdom's not that scary. All right,
Really?
Cincinnati's gone into the kingdom. Buffalo's gone into the kingdom and won.
In the
But
playoffs,
guess what?
only Cincinnati.
The Prince, well, it was regular season playoffs.
Sure.
The Prince is not Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. And he will go, it ends his Saturday winning streak, the trumpets, the snare drums, the wig. It all ends on Saturday.
Maybe.
All right? And look, there are a few
arguing
facts.
with him, he agrees.
I'm just saying it with force and authority. But it's true. Nick is right that it will end on Saturday. I'm giving them no more of a chance than the cliches. Nothing is impossible. Any given Sunday, you know, that type
Well,
of
that's
stuff.
more of a
Anything
chance
can happen.
than I'm giving.
Oh, anything can happen. I mean, we've seen obviously incredible upsets in sports history. That's the only chance. All right, they will get beaten. You said it, Nick. You talked about Kansas City's pass rush. Well, guess who doesn't have? Guess who wasn't second in the league in pass rush and who was bottom 10 in sacking the quarterback? Jacksonville. Guess who was like bottom 5 in pass defense? Jacksonville. Oh, and you're facing the best quarterback in the league.
So how'd Jacksonville get here? My
They
God.
were lucky.
Oh,
I'm glad you brought that up. They were lucky.
They were.
Hold on. Not lucky.
He's arguing with
They
like, he
made,
agrees
because you know what?
back.
I agree with Mark Schlereth, who said luck has the
Schlereth.
smell of perspiration. They were fortunate.
Well,
Because
draft
but
Trevor
for,
Lawrence, I agree.
but for the fumble return for a touchdown, Tennessee beats them.
Oh, my
in the
God,
final
we're going
minutes,
back
by
to
the
the
way.
Tennessee game?
But for Brandon Staley having brain fog in the second half, the Chargers beat them. So they're fortunate to beat them. Congratulations, you got the divisional round. Good job, but it ends Saturday.
Okay, you guys, that was a great
I turned
argument
an
between
agreement into
two
a
guys
nice little
who agreed. Like, no, the Chiefs win. He's like, I just said that. All right, you're not going to move at all. Let me try to convince you a little bit. A little bit.
You think Jacksonville?
Well,
was a
someone's
walk-in
got to,
there?
honestly, for the mechanics of the show to work.
Wow.
Here's the
Okay.
thing. Can you beat the Chiefs playing straight up? Like, you know what? We're going to line up. It's going to be our guys versus their guys. It won't work. It's not going to work.
What other way is there?
I'm glad you asked. You have to
Hurt
be
their
clever,
kicker.
and
Hurt
you
their
have to be
quarterback.
aggressive. And I think Doug Peterson, who was willing to call
Headhunt.
Philly special on a whim to beat Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Doug Peterson's going to do some fancy plays. Trick plays.
And got the win.
He's going to trick him.
But they're not.
They are.
But go ahead.
Maybe not. Hey, Dust, can you run the stats on the career record Tom Brady and Bill Belichick versus Andy Reid? We're going to be here for a while. We'll get back to you on that.
Sure.
And here's the other thing, just the aggressiveness that we've seen from Doug Peterson on fourth down. Just like how Brandon Staley,
Teddy
not Brandon
KGB,
Staley
you're
gives
such
up
a
the big
troll.
leads. Old school Brandon Staley, who would go for it on fourth down in Arrowhead.
And
You don't
Doug
believe what you're
Peterson's
saying.
Fourth down attempts are different. The announcers and broadcasters like them because they work. They're not playing the results at all on this stuff. They work, so it's
Look,
fine.
Fourth most, sixth most.
Yeah.
And then this play, it's like, oh, you know what? You think we're going to try to get
Brilliant
1
play.
yard? The play design is smarter. I think he's going to go in there. Hey, nothing to lose.
Doug Peterson goes for
We're
on
a
fourth
little bit
down all
lucky
year.
To be here. Let's play carefree. And, it's 4th and 2. Why don't we go for it? Why don't we try to win?
The future is threatened by
They're going to be aggressive with going for it on fourth down and stuff. I kind of believe that. They're going to have 4 downs to convert the chains. The other team's only going to have 3 downs. The Chiefs play like the Chiefs are going to win, and they play overconfident, and then they're trying to just whatever. They're punting it on third down. They know that their offense is going to score more and this and that, and then the Jags get aggressive. Maybe the Jags can make it happen.
Right after a 28-point playoff comeback in the wild card round, played the big dogs of the conference, the New England Patriots, in the next round, and they annihilated him. And then the next year, by the way, they annihilated him again. Peyton Manning, once he finally got his first playoff victory, 2 weeks later, played the big dogs of the conference. The New England Patriots, also a decade prior, very different team, but Brady and Belichick. And the Patriots annihilated him and then annihilated him again the following year. Trevor eventually, at some point, will make a Super Bowl, but he's going to hit his head on the very hard concrete ceiling of the AFC, which is the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes for at least the next few years. And so, listen,
I'm going to have to 4-bet jam this guy when he 3-bets. Okay, he
4 and
folds.
8 to winning a playoff game, calling them lucky
Okay.
is a little insulting, but
Fortunate.
Okay, well, we're all fortunate to be here. But
mixed with a heavy dose of luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point we're going to have to acknowledge that over the course of a season, nobody blows everybody out each week. There are good bounces that come into play, and this is the Jags had a hell of a run, and it ends on Saturday.
They did. It does end on Saturday. But Nick, I got to give you credit. Your little Saturday stat about Trevor Lawrence has blown up. I heard it on Undisputed mentioned today. And it was Doug Peterson was even asked about it.
Oh, okay.
This is credit to you.
He said, "Oh, okay."
It's a credit to your reach.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Yes.
Well, I'm big
but
in
it also is evidence of the silliness of the.
How can you say it was silly?
Because
The stat is silly. Oh, on a certain day of the week, he's never lost a game. I mean, he doesn't care what day of the fucking week it is.
Why don't you go back to Pop Warner? It might be 50-0.
Well, maybe it was.
Yeah. What about Pop Warner? Did he ever lose on a Saturday with Pop Warner?
Just before we move on, I might be on the Trevor Lawrence corner.
Okay, no.
You've abandoned it.
Now everyone's, since they're playing the Chiefs and it's Nick's team, they're all going to say, "Oh, I like the Prince that was promised."
Okay. Mahomes, one of 2 quarterbacks who didn't throw a touchdown last week. He looked. It's just the facts. He looks to bounce back this weekend.
It's just the facts.
He wants a Super Bowl.
Yeah, the stats are stats.
What's on the line for Mahomes?
Yeah, Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown last week.
Well, what's on?
I didn't even see him out there.
I'm on the record as saying he's the best quarterback that I've ever seen. Forget in the league. But Nick, you know,
Ace King is good. Wow.
Going into the season, it's almost like people are trying to.
Instead of busting out and playing video games today, we might actually get fucking poker trolled.
The team to win
or him to win.
Right, because Peyton Manning didn't win it every year. Tom Brady, the GOAT, went a whole decade without winning it. So you don't win it every year no matter how good you are. MVP or the Super Bowl. And that was my thinking. But in going into the season, there were some people that thought Joe Burrow was better, that Josh Allen was better. Allen was a lot of people's pick, including mine for MVP, but some thought he was actually better.
My question, can those people still hold that opinion? Is that a valid opinion?
Well, let me finish.
Sure.
If Patrick Mahomes gets beat by Trevor Lawrence first, but also Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, whoever he meets in the next round, then yes, people will hold that opinion. Those who held it earlier in the season, he won the MVP, that's great. But people will look at the playoffs, especially when I get it, if they play Buffalo, it'll be on a neutral site. But if he loses to one of those guys...
That's why I think that this isn't going to happen. This whole neutral site thing is so annoying that I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals and the Jags both fucking win.
Because Stafford beat him.
Just so we don't have to worry about that shit.
Anyone holding that opinion?
Stafford is not Josh Allen or Joe Burrow.
Okay, well, let's put Joe Burrow in a separate category for a moment. Let's talk about Josh Allen. Because there has been not a single season of Josh Allen's career he's been better than Patrick Mahomes. They've met in the playoffs twice previously. Mahomes won both. So are we saying this is like the heavyweight championship belt, where it's simply as soon as you lose once, you lose it? Is that?
I'm not, but I'm saying I think that will be a narrative. And Allen is close. I mean, Mahomes is better, but Allen is great himself.
By no metric is he close.
Really?
Yeah, he's not close.
He runs the ball so much better. You got to include that.
Okay, that's great. He's a better runner.
That's
by every other metric of how we evaluate
Yeah.
quarterbacks, from team
He's
success,
better running.
personal
That's
success,
it.
consistency,
Interceptions.
touchdown rate, interception
Yeah.
rate, completion percentage, passer rating, any of
Leadership.
it. He's not in the same
Literally
stress.
not even close.
And so if Joe Burrow comes into Arrowhead 2 straight years and
But it's funny they're talking so much about Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow has literally done nothing except he played 2 years ago, hurt himself, and didn't play the whole year. And then last year, it's all based on last year and what he's done this year. Joe Burrow has just turned into the fucking G. He's the G.
Patrick
He's the
Mahomes,
G thing.
That is a fair discussion to have.
He barely
Because
has any
Joe Burrow
experience at
also
all, but everyone's
was
putting him in the top
second
5
best
quarterbacks.
quarterback in
There's just
football.
not a lot of good quarterbacks
So I think
in
that
football
would be
right
a
now.
fair discussion with Burrow.
They're all
But
old, washed-up guys, or
saying
they're all
Allen would be
young,
better if he
inexperienced,
beats
unproven
him
guys.
Would be no different than if Trevor beats him. Is it fair to say?
If Mahomes goes to the championship game this year, goes to Super Bowl this year, he's going to become like,
I'm just curious.
he's going to be the GOAT of this era.
Hold on. Based on running ability. He is the focus of his team's offense.
But here's the problem. He can't help himself but be the focus of his team's offense. Even when he
Now we
doesn't
win with
need
Kings
to
sometimes,
be,
though, Teddy.
He makes himself.
Okay, but he's
I've won some really big all-ins with Kings, so
Lawrence
there's
is
nothing
not as good
programmed
as
to have us lose with Kings.
That's fine. That's
Because
a
we win with
legitimate
Kings
opinion
sometimes.
to hold.
See what I mean?
understand that. The point I'm making
Kings aren't that good of a hand. I mean,
saying that if
it's a pair of
Allen beats
Kings.
him, he gets to be considered the top dog. That standard clearly simply means if you beat him, you get to be considered top dog. We are not taking in body of work at all. We're not taking in anything that
we're taking in body of work in the playoffs. He's got 17 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's got the 3rd highest passer rating in the playoff history. Now, Mahomes is number 1.
Yes.
But if he beats him, and obviously his playoff numbers will have to be good in that game to beat Mahomes, he will have great postseason numbers. Regular season be darned, all right? And he will have beaten him in the playoffs.
So
now, I'm going to say this. I will not. I'm saying what the narrative will be from some corners. I still will view Mahomes as better.
But let's play
but you can't act like
let's play
there are
out
going to
that
be those
same
out
logic, though. Let's just quickly play out that same logic. You're saying if Allen beats him, he will have done X, Y, and Z. If Trevor goes in and beats him, his playoff record will be undefeated. It will include the 4th largest playoff comeback in history with 4 straight passing touchdown drives, and then going into Arrowhead and beating Patrick
Much smaller
Mahomes.
sample size.
Well, no matter who beats who, the media is going to try to make a fucking story out of something,
But
obviously.
he also will have 0 losses in his career in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, to which Josh Allen has 2. So if we're going...
Nick Wright just said that it was a possibility. He's a Chiefs fan, but he just said out loud, Trevor Lawrence goes into Arrowhead. Gets it
all
done.
I'm asking...
You're acting like there's no nuance.
No.
No one is going to say Trevor Lawrence is better than Patrick Mahomes unless Lawrence does something.
Because he hasn't been prematurely anointed the way Josh Allen has been.
Really?
Yes.
He came out of the draft prematurely anointed.
Okay, but he has proven
Jesus.
all of that correct. And he wasn't prematurely anointed. He was just drafted number 1 overall.
But he was viewed as the next guy.
And he is.
Well, then why hasn't he been prematurely anointed?
No, he wasn't anointed as already a league MVP. Already the best player.
Because his rookie year was horrible.
Yeah. And so I would just love for Joe Burrow to get 50% of the earned praise that Josh Allen has gotten unearned.
Has he been as good in the playoffs as Josh? I know his team got to the Super Bowl.
Joe Burrow has never had a bad playoff
he hasn't been close.
He's never had a single bad playoff game. Josh Allen's had 3.
Joe Burrow played well in the Super Bowl, too.
Got 7
against a really tough defense.
Yep. Yes.
Josh Allen has 17 in 7 games.
Okay, yeah, but another way to look at it
He's got 3 interceptions, Allen.
5 games.
Burrow has 2 interceptions.
I understand that. He's never had a single bad playoff game.
I got confused. I'll be honest with you, I got confused the last 30 seconds. Hey, Jalen Hurts playing the Giants. He's going to look like the MVP. We discuss next.
Every time you order a hot sub from Jersey Mike's, it's grilled fresh. I call it dinner and a show.
Look at that sizzle.
Grilled right in front of you. It's a Jersey Mike's thing.
Super Bowl champion Mark Schlereth is here writing some notes down. Broussard, are you expecting an MVP-type performance from Jalen Hurts.
Well, look, the way people raved about Daniel Jones' performance last week, kind of viewed it as MVP-like. If that's the case, then yeah, because he played a lot like Jalen Hurts. All right, in fact, the last time, let's throw out the last game of the season when the Giants were resting their starters and Hurts wasn't running the ball, just trying to get his arm loose. When they played before that, Philadelphia won by 26 points. And Hurts had 2 touchdown passes, I believe, and ran for almost 100 yards. One of his best rushing games of the year.
It was his last good game of the season. Because the next game he got
played
hurt against
poorly
Chicago, and then he missed 2 games and then came back.
Right.
Go ahead.
So I think that he will come out and they will have their way with the Giants. I'm not saying they're going to beat him by 26, but I think he plays well. I think, look, he's one of the biggest competitors in a league full of competitors. And I think he's been sitting back, seeing how, since he got hurt, since kind of that last great game, people have been kind of downgrading him and the Eagles. And I think he's chomping at the bit to get back. So I do think that he has a great game.
I'm going to go no. I think rhythm is important. I think the way you finish the season, the way you play is important. I think this is one of those games where
the Eagles have been fizzling. They've been fizzling out.
Wink was the defensive coordinator, not of the Giants at the time, but of the Ravens.
Wink.
Okay? And he was playing a prominent quarterback that had that ability. And I'm asking him, what's your game plan? How do you defend this guy? He goes, that guy, at the end of the day, I got to make him throw the ball 40 times. If I can make him throw the ball 40 times, we're going to win this football game. And it's interesting.
Wink's not going to let him run
that way because the Philadelphia Eagles are structured. They run the ball so exceptionally well.
They're going to stop the run.
Let
him throw it 40 times. We'll pick a couple off.
They've got that athleticism to beat you up physically, to outflank you athletically. And then
what's up, Eric McClellan? Yeah, it is what it is, man. If you don't want to have your videos not be blocked, then we can't be playing music and stuff.
So the principle here is I'm going to have a 5-down defensive front. I'm going to stack it with a safety in the middle, and I'm going to make Jalen Hurts beat us throwing the football. And if he can do it, great. But you're coming off a shoulder injury. You're coming off, you haven't played, you guys haven't played. You don't have that rhythm. I think that's the game plan going forward. And so that said, and he's got that capability of beating you that way. I just don't think he's going to have a great game.
And he's got the wide receivers.
I think the Eagles are going to win, Mark.
Hey, Tennessee tried to do it to him and he cut him up.
I think the Giants are going to win, Mark. I think the Giants are actually going to win the game.
I think this is a game where he doesn't play that well.
They can turn him into big.
Well, then they're going to lose.
It's a real concern, and I also think that
it is a real concern.
We can't possibly overstate what a big moment this is in Jalen's career. So
he's hurt though. If he loses and looks like shit and he's got a hurt shoulder, no one's going to blame him for it.
Compare him to Lamar, not even really stylistically, because Jalen's already a better passer, in my opinion, than Lamar.
There's no question.
And he is a powerful runner, while Lamar's almost a more elegant speed runner. But here's where I'm going to do the career comps, right? Lamar comes on midway through his rookie year, gets them to the playoffs, plays poorly in that playoff game, but everyone's like, hey, we didn't even expect to be here. The next year, wins league MVP, they're the 1 seed, gets to the playoffs, plays poorly again, and now that's the word on him. It's like, I can't play well in the playoffs. Jalen, his first year as a starter, they come on at the end of the year, get to the playoffs, don't expect him to be there.
Holy shit, the Ravens were a number 1 seed with MVP Lamar Jackson and lost the playoff game?
Nobody expected him to be here, good for him.
No way.
Year, some people, 14 weeks into the season, had him as
who'd they lose to, like the Titans or something?
If he plays poorly in this playoff game, this is a guy that could be up for a contract after this year.
Lamar Jackson has won a playoff game. He beat the Titans last year. So.
Sure.
This is a
He's only won 1 playoff game.
For him because he was so good in the regular season.
They lost 28-12
so
in 2020 when he was MVP. They lost 28-12 to the Titans.
If he plays poorly and they lose.
I knew it was going to be the Titans.
He gets another opportunity.
Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is like an equalizer, though. If your team is not as good, or if your team is better than the Titans team, but Derrick Henry has a big game, then you can still lose to the Titans. Thanks, Whale. What's up, dude? Burrow has never lost to Mahomes. I think it's going to be Burrow against fucking Trevor Lawrence. Honestly. I think there's an element of just, I don't know. What's the element? The Chiefs are They've got the bye. They're a little cocky. They think they're going to beat the Jags. That's their mindset. And the Jags are just going to be trying so hard to do all the right things and fundamentals and listen to the coaches. And Doug Peterson's a great coach. And I think the Jags are going to have some trick plays. Just going to depend on a turnover or two, I think. I think it'll be a close game. Honestly, like, dudes, we go through this every year in the NFL playoffs. Like, this round coming up, this divisional round where you got 4 games... or you got 2 games in the NFC and 2 games in the AFC. Like, you never know who's going to win these games. People assume the number 1 seeds are going to win and all this, but I mean, we just looked there. The Ravens lost when they were the number 1 seed with Lamar Jackson in 2020, MVP of the league, number 1 seed. Did anyone think they're going to lose to the Titans? No. The Titans beat them 28-12. A lot of times in the playoffs, the teams will play differently, man. They'll play more conservative. Nobody wants to give nobody wants to give the game away in the first quarter. You know. There's a lot more running the ball, I feel like, early on. Less people taking less chances. The scores end up being kind of close, I think, a lot of times. You got a day off? Good luck today.
Like a ramrod guy, and we get behind that guy and try to push him through on
On defense,
on the defensive side, yeah. And so they ended up, as a league rule, they ended up basically making that go away.
A very quick question,
danger-wise, I look at that. I think that's something that's going to be addressed.
So
every time you order a hot sub from Jersey Mike's, it's grilled fresh. I call it dinner and a show.
Look at that sizzle.
Grilled right in front of you. It's a Jersey Mike's thing.
But until it is, quick question, because you said it's not that risky of a play. The Chiefs used to run quarterback sneaks. Wiles and I were talking about this before the show. Then in 2019 against Denver, they ran one, and Mahomes got his kneecap dislocated.
Yep,
he has not run a single quarterback sneak since then. 3+ years. They do all types of goofy stuff. They have Travis Kelce do it. You know what I mean? They do a bunch of stuff. So you think that's just them being overcautious, or the Eagles being a little reckless with their franchise quarterback? Or they're just built different?
I would say one, that Mahomes is a freak and can do things that nobody else can do outside the pocket. 2, that was a freak injury that happened. Like, that is the odds of that ever happening again are slim to none. But they've just gotten to the point where they're protecting their asset. I understand that.
By the way, Broncos still haven't recovered from
and can do things that nobody else can do outside the pocket. 2, that was a freak injury that happened. Like, that is the odds of that ever happening again are slim to none. But they've just gotten to the point where they're protecting their asset. I understand that.
By the way, Broncos still haven't recovered from that karma. Haven't the Chiefs since. I love it. Years and years.
Mahomes quarterback sneak? Like, no. How about the ring around the
Final room? 17 in this 1.5K.
Yeah, that protects Mahomes. Darius Slayton.
We're 9-17.
Jones saying in part, definitely his respect around the league is going up. Broussard, do you think Daniel Jones is underrated or overrated at this point?
I get the teammates saying this. Saquon Barkley said he was elite, but he was asked, is he an elite? What's he supposed to say? All right, so
no,
I get the
he's not elite.
Coming out with these types of comments. But I do think on the outside, there have been people who've overreacted to last week's game. And look, Brian Daboll did a fantastic job with this guy. He kept him from doing what he doesn't do well and honed in on what he does do well. And he ran for almost as many yards this season as he did in his first 3 years.
He's good.
So credit to Daboll. He's a good quarterback, but people are talking about him like he's a definitive franchise quarterback. It's not definitive. He threw 15 touchdowns this season.
And he threw for 200 yards per game. And listen, this is earlier than
but he ran for fucking 50 yards a game.
Brew made a good point.
He was like a top 5 running quarterback, though.
Here's the thing.
And they don't have any receivers. It's not like he had Devontae Adams to throw a bomb to.
The folks who are going on TV this week
they have Saquon.
Apologies on Daniel Jones' behalf. No, he's not that good. I think deep down they know that Brian Daboll right now is making the absolute most of the situation. Daniel Jones this year, twice we to the playoff game where he was exceptional against the league's worst pass defense.
We're going to see this weekend. We won't have to be doing any speculating. We can just watch the players play.
Oh, he doesn't turn the ball over anymore because they don't let him throw the ball a lot. Now, he's done a great job not fumbling the way he used to. But
well, that's bullshit. He's probably throwing less picks because he's not throwing the ball as much, but Still, though, interception per passes thrown, I bet you have gone down for him, you know? If we looked at that stat, so this is bullshit.
He's throwing fewer interceptions.
He's not throwing interceptions right now. He used to. It's not just because the volume has gone down.
He's a great runner. Okay, those are pretty good. and he won a playoff game, and if he sneaks this win, he's gonna be like, still not very good. And he won a play.
Completion percentage better than Mahomes. Interceptions less than Jalen Hurts. Passer rating better than Trevor Lawrence's. Rushing yards more rushing yards than Josh Allen this year. Daniel Jones. Pretty cool stat. Pretty cool little line of stats there.
Still not very
You would
good.
give him a 5-year huge deal.
No, you wouldn't.
I give everybody the deals because I don't care.
It's not Wild's money, so he's good. He's good with that.
It's not my money, so yeah, they should sign him.
Brian Dable's done a great job of basically mitigating potential disaster, mitigating the things you can't do. One of the problems in coaching in today's league is you put guys in a position to fail, and then you act astonished when they fail. You're the moron that put them there, right? So he has taken him out of that position to fail. He's put him in things that he can do. Now, here's to Bruce's point, to your point with Daniel Jones. You know, everybody talked about last week. What a remarkable. He's the first quarterback in history to throw for 300 yards, to have 2 passing TDs or 2 TDs, and to rush it for 70. Last year alone, 3 quarterbacks threw it for 300 yards or 300 yards plus. Well, it was Josh Allen twice and Mahomes last year. Threw it for 300, had 2 TDs, and you know how many yards rushing that? Between 65 and 69.
Yeah.
Like, so let's, before we go, oh my gosh, it's never, ever happened in the history of football.
That's the way it goes.
He's 1 yard more rushing, so let's calm down. Happened 3 times last
And by
year.
the way, one of those, it happened in the same game for Mahomes and Allen.
They picked the number 70 so that he'd be the only one, but he was the only one by a few yards.
Allen
But
and Daniel Jones.
yeah, but it's still 3. Yeah, it's still just 3 of them.
I bet you Steve Young has several of them. I bet
Steve
you
Young
go
too.
all the way. I bet you go all the way back.
Go, keep going.
You find a bunch of them.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe.
Well, he has the most. But yeah, he's right. The stats are skewed, so all the statistician guys are realizing how bullshit these stats are. And they're using them all the time for all sorts of things. I mean, things that are more important than fucking football. They'll be waving these stats in front of people's faces and getting them to react to shit. Shit's fucked up. I think there was a fucking Sims podcast today, but the whole thing hasn't been posted yet. Are they still talking? Like, what is... I can watch the Chris Sims thing. It's a podcast. Chris Sims Unbuttoned, right? And then he also does things with Florio on a different show, I guess. Chris Sims, I don't know if this guy ever sleeps. But I can follow NFL on NBC, which will post, like, if I go to playlists, I think it says Unbuttoned podcast. Maybe not. Yeah, there you go. Chris Sims Unbuttoned, full podcast episodes. It was updated 2 days ago, so he hasn't done one for 2 days? Have I watched them all? I've watched a lot this year. He had the top 40 quarterback countdown for the year. 160 something videos. I've watched the last 50 of them. The last 49 of them, pretty much. Watched most of them. Podcasts. Yeah, so he doesn't have a new one. It's been 2 days. They haven't done the preview for this weekend yet. I bet you they do it like tomorrow or something. Wednesdays are boring. Wednesdays are boring as shit. It might be. I figured we'd just bust these tournaments and then play Dragon Quest XI. It's kind of the plan, but it looks like we might actually bank this one. We're in the final 15 for crying out loud. That would really put a wrench in our plans. Then I'll probably just play tournaments the rest of the night. Oh. Peter King podcast was updated today, so Peter King did some stuff today. Where is this Mike Florio? Oh no, I watched this one already. Where's this Mike Florio, Chris Sims podcast at? Whatever they're doing. Oh, updated today. Chris Sims unbuttoned. The other thing says Chris Sims unbuttoned full episodes. This says Chris Sims unbuttoned, and it's been updated today. What is this? Will the Jaguars bring the heat against Mahomes? Okay, so this was updated today. So I haven't watched a few of these. Dooms the Vikings. I didn't watch this. Okay, we need to watch a few of these.
Right, good friend I am.
So we're going to start with the Giants.
This is the pod from the other day.
Beating the Vikings 31-24, and we were all over this. Not to toot our own horn.
I know,
but
it's
we like to
upset
do
of the
that.
weekend. And as you're saying, I'm like, was it really an upset? I mean, it was, but
You
it
picked
wasn't.
the Giants to win, not just because you wanted them to win, because
Really
you thought they would win.
Right.
And we talked about it all year, how winning one-score games, which they did most of the year, helps you get into the playoffs.
Right.
It does. I mean, it's 100%. That's why they got to the playoffs.
Right.
I don't know that it helps you in the playoffs, and we saw it for the first time all year. The Vikings lost.
Look at this
A
spot.
one-score game in the playoffs.
Yeah, a one-score game in the playoffs.
I mean,
against a team that really does believe in itself right now and is riding the emotions of getting in the playoffs. Against a team
fucking
that
shit, man.
went there just a few weeks ago, and certainly like we did last Wednesday on what the happened Wednesday or what the will happen Wednesday, right? Where we broke down and went like this. They outplayed the Vikings and lost the game. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we said that on the podcast. Like the Giants are going to go back and be able to sell to their team. Like, hey, we don't throw this interception. We don't fumble this ball here. We catch this one here. We don't have a punt block. We're as good as this team. We can win. So, and then the Giants also a team a lot like the Vikings that are very comfortable in one-score games. So they weren't going to be intimidated by the, oh no, the Vikings in a one-score game. It's right in the wheelhouse.
That's a good point. Giants have been in a lot of one-score games this year. It's a lot of pressure on offense and defense, and they've won a lot of the
It was
games.
a fun game to watch. I think it was.
Really? I mean, I didn't know if I should go all in or not, dude.
I felt that way, but did you feel that way at home?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it was lack of defense, a lot of big plays on the offensive side of the ball, and yeah, I think all the things that you're kind of going into here that we were worried about with the Vikings, is talking about are they really an elite football team, kind of showed itself yesterday. It's just it's amazing that they were 13-4 with that defense. I mean, was that me? Or was that the greatest show on turf yesterday, or was that the New York Giants?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, that was
Their two
unbelievable.
best games offensively were probably the two games versus the Vikings.
Probably. Exactly. Yeah. It's just so that's where listen, if we're going to start, we're going to break this game down. I know that, but the first guy that we just got to throw love to is Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones, what he's been through, what he's doing right now, has a little support system, the coaching, everything there, the way he played yesterday, that was fucking phenomenal. That wasn't just good, and I feel like people, because it's Daniel Jones and it was the Vikings, everyone's going to kind of go, well, and I want to go what? I don't, I know the Vikings aren't good, but still, that was torch you with his arm.
Just because the Vikings aren't that good doesn't mean that Daniel Jones has ever looked that fucking sexy out there than he did this weekend. Yeah, I mean, he'd be fumbling the ball 10 times over against the Vikings' poorest defense 2 years ago.
Forced just 2 punts in the game. One of them was late after that Slayton drop that would have given him a first down. So
Playing any bigger ones today? I don't know.
3rd and 13.
We'll
He's
see.
going to catch a crossing route, right? He's going to get the first down.
Wide open turf ahead of him.
Right, wide open turf. Right.
Yeah. So I want to read the stat here for the Giants or for the Vikings, because it wasn't like they played poorly.
No.
It's just like their defense is not good enough.
Exactly right.
So
That's
this came from Opta Stats. It says the Vikings are the only team in the Super Bowl era to complete at least 80% of their passes with no turnovers, no sacks. Still lose regular season or postseason. NFL teams had been 47.
Okay, so we saw this.
Now to our game that we will. Well, you know what? Maybe you don't need a franchise quarterback, because maybe any old quarterback will do. If you're the San Francisco 49ers, that is the case. Our final game to talk about that happened already. We've got the Monday game to talk about, of course. But the 49ers beat the Seahawks 41-23. Not maybe as easy as the score indicates. The Seahawks were up by 1 at the half. But then in the second half, here's what the 49ers did. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. field goal victory formation. 25 straight in the second half. It's just as we've said since the beginning of the season, it's only a matter of time before Brock Purdy and the 49ers offense gets going.
It's unbelievable. It really is. It's an unstoppable machine right now. And really, like, I'm not saying this to be critical. We're up 13-7 early and should have been more than that. He didn't play well early in the game, right? I mean, he missed some throws. He missed a touchdown on the first drive, or I think it was the first drive. Maybe it was the second drive where they had to settle for a field goal. But he had Brandon Ayuk. He threw the ball like 5 seconds late. It should have been like no contest, easy touchdown. But he settled in. Seahawks battled, early on. They were selling out to stop the run and take that away, and Geno and them who struggled, they finally hung in there and put together a drive and, hung in there for a while where we were like, man, can Seattle keep this up? Are they going to be able to, make a play every now and then on the 49ers offense? And then is Geno going to be able to make some plays like this consistently throughout the game? And it kind of felt like, man, they're going to keep answering the bell here. But the pass rush of the 49ers got there, and once they got that strip sack at 23-17, the game was never the same after that.
Yeah, after that, they went, because these are all the second half possessions for Seattle. They go fumble, strip sack in the red zone, punt, interception, garbage time touchdown.
Yeah.
So that was it.
That was it.
Not a whole lot of possessions,
No.
right? 49ers able to eat the clock, which is what they can do.
Exactly
Right, that's their formula.
That's where they're scary. They can 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, and then they get it like the 25-yard line. They get a 25-yard touchdown, and you're like, whoa, okay. But yeah, they can kind of do it both ways. They can eat up the clock and go on long drives. They're explosive and can do like we saw on their last touchdown drive, 2-play, 76-yard drive. But it's like it all starts with the run game, like magician of Kyle Shanahan's game planning. And the fact that Seattle was so overmatched in that department, right? That we're sitting there watching the game. We made a tape for the pregame show on Saturday night before the Chargers Jaguars, and they usually come to me, hey, what do you think the tape is for the 49ers game? What's the thought? And I was like, running the ball and crossing routes, because I mean every ball he threw was Kittle across the middle, Ayuk across the middle, this guy across the middle. And all shapes and sizes of them, but mainly like 15 and 20-yard crossing routes that were gashing the Seattle Seahawks defense because they were so worried about stopping the run.
So Purdy is the first rookie quarterback to win a playoff game since Russell Wilson in January of 2013. Seahawks fans love to hear that stat. Chow Jr. says what you just mentioned. Purdy threw 10 times over 20 yards in the game. Was that by design?
First rookie to win a playoff game since Russell Wilson 2013.
Brock Purdy, but yeah, definitely stretching the field. Something they have done more with Brock Purdy than we have seen them do with really any quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo included.
He's more consistent throwing those balls, I think, than Jimmy Garoppolo ever was.
I think he's going to throw some into the Giants defenders' arms 2 weeks from now.
That was by design. And it was by design because that's what the defense was telling Shanahan and company to do. I think that's where it's cool with the 49ers. He's obviously in the trust tree to where the coach doesn't go like, wow, they're playing run defense, but I'm going to keep running it because I don't really trust them. They're playing run defense like that? Well, I'm going to dial it up. Brock's going to hit it. And that's amazing. And then the ability, like, go back and watch some of the plays and how they look exactly like the run play. Or it's the same pass pattern down the field, but they just changed up the fake behind it and the window dressing to where you don't think it's going to be the same play, and you go, oh, wait, they just burned me with the same play they burned me with 5 minutes ago. It was exactly the same, except it just looked different at the start. And that's where he's amazing. But yeah, the running game and the deep crossers and
everything worked.
And then the defense started to dominate, and it all started just falling together.
Vish Kumaran, our guy Vish.
What up, Vish?
Tweets us, says, has Brock Purdy done enough to be the starter for the 49ers next year? Is what he's doing a byproduct of the environment, or do you think there's sustenance to this insanely efficient offense with him under?
I already saw all these.
VitaFusion gummy vitamins. Where'd they get
Says I didn't watch them, but I did.
Because it's a fusion of healthy vitamins and delicious fruit flavors.
Well, you know what? Maybe you don't. Now to our game that we will see here on NBC. Chris is about to hop on a plane, go talk to Amy.
10 of 11 here on the left. Ace Jack on the right. King 9 suited. Ace Jack against King Jack. We hold, good stuff. We're all in here. And we're out. In 11th place. Wow. Sick run. Sick run, sick run. $60 remain, 44 cash on the left here. Keeping busy. Bought into a few saddies. Oh shit, Nick's Tears just came out 15 minutes ago.
Switch to Verizon for just $25 a line, guaranteed for 3 years. The savings that last on the network you want. Verizon.
You're in for a treat. Last night, sealed away in a musty corridor, a select committee of whiz kids, whippersnappers, and whiskey drinkers yearned and toiled. They burned the midnight oil to compose the best segment in all of sports television. Like every Wednesday, it's my honor and it's a privilege. It's time for Nick's Tears.
Indeed it is, one of the last editions of the Tiers of this NFL season. And as you will see at the top of the tiers, there's a little vindication for the committee.
Oh.
However, we must start with teams that are no longer playing. Full rebuild. These 11 teams are in a full rebuild mode. 2 of them just won recent Super Bowls. They are now, the cupboard is bare. The 3 above them are in a full rebuild despite allegedly having their franchise quarterback, and they may not even know they're in a full rebuild, but you are.
Rams, Bucks, full rebuild. Cardinals, Broncos, Browns. You might not know you're in a rebuild, but you are.
The teams at the very top are in a full rebuild, but they're actually excited about it. 3 of the top 4 picks of the draft, tons of cap space, coach openings, all of that. All right.
And then the Panthers, the Saints, and the Falcons, all from the NFC South. He's gotten a rebuild tier. And then the Bears, the Texans, and the Colts are in rebuild, but they all have good draft picks.
All right, next group.
So the Texans, Colts, and
QB purgatory.
Bears might be able to get out of the gutter sooner.
These 6 teams right now.
Ace King suited. I'm all in. 4-bet jam.
To one degree or another by the quarterback position. In Green Bay, is he in or is he out? In Minnesota, it's like, all right, Kirk Cousins, and same with Tennessee. Is Ryan Tannehill is too good to get rid of, but we know we can't win. Washington, who knows what they're doing, and the Steelers and the Patriots, who are really good franchises with great coaches.
Quarterback purgatory. Steelers, Titans, Washington, Minnesota, Green Bay, and New England.
But, pardon me, quarterback.
Big spot here, Ace King suited.
They're not going to be able to get the job done.
Bad take.
Oh, yeah.
Bad take caught my throat.
That's
Frisky.
going to be that.
These 5 teams didn't make the playoffs.
5 frisky teams. These 5 teams didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, they did. The Dolphins made the playoffs. Did he just misspeak? Nick.
But, pardon me, quarterbacks who just are not going to be able to get the job done.
Bad take there, Tom.
Yeah, bad take caught my throat. Frisky. These 5 teams didn't make the playoffs, but all of them should be super excited for next season, and with the right...
He said these 5 teams didn't make the playoffs, but the Seahawks and the Dolphins are on the list, and they both made the playoffs. What the fuck is wrong with him today? Lions, Jets, Seahawks, Dolphins, and Raiders are all frisky.
Tweaks with the Jets and Raiders situation with the right quarterback additions, they could be teams that could do real damage next season. Now, to the actual tiers. Should be playing. They were eliminated. These 2 teams were eliminated last week, but they have to feel like they should still be playing. For the Ravens, even without Lamar, if not for the 98-yard 14.
Rookies can't handle the playoff heat. I know. Eventually, his cockiness is going to lead to his demise when he faces the G-men in the championship game.
Picked to finish last in their own division. Feel like they should be playing. I feel like maybe at least one of them should be playing, but they're not. Next, 2 great coaches, 1 great quarterback. Both Dable and Peterson have done brilliant jobs thus far this season. Both of their seasons likely end this weekend, but both these fan bases should feel great about the direction of their teams because of their coaches, and in Jacksonville, of course, also because of the quarterback. Overhyped and underhyped. So the Buffalo Bills, all year long, have been a historically overhyped team that at every turn since September has not lived up.
2 great coaches, 1 great quarterback. What? Let me hear this again.
Chargers, you're up 27-0 against a team many people picked to finish last in their own division. Feel like they should be playing. I feel like maybe at least one of them should be playing, but they're not. Next, 2 great coaches, 1 great quarterback. Both Dable and Peterson have done brilliant jobs.
He's saying Daniel Jones isn't good.
Both of their seasons likely end this.
Jags and Giants have good coaches. Only Lawrence is a good quarterback.
Both these fan bases should feel great about the direction of their teams because of their coaches, and in Jacksonville, of course, also.
He's got them at the bottom of the teams remaining.
Overhyped
They're
and
the lowest seeds.
So the Buffalo Bills, all
Bills,
year
Cowboys,
long,
overhyped, underhyped.
have been a historically overhyped team that at every turn since September has not lived up to it. They ended the season with some games just like, huh? What happened there? This playoff game, they would have lost to Skylar Thompson if Mike McDaniel, who I like, understood the play clock's only 40 seconds, not 65 seconds, buddy. The Cowboys, on the other hand, I think a little underhyped. The Cowboys, who had a Dak Prescott injury, who dealt with that for 5 weeks, who were in supposedly the best division in all of football, still found their way to 12 wins, still found their way to having different points of the season where they had either a top 3 offense or a top 3 defense, yet no one believes in them. Perfect bracket. I'd been saying for quite some time I thought the Eagles would be one and done in the postseason, but that all changed when the Giants beat the Vikings, and then also the Cowboys beat the Bucks. If the Eagles could not have scripted a better opening weekend on the NFC side, aside from, of course, San Francisco losing, which was never going to happen. The Eagles, a divisional opponent who, as Brew mentioned earlier, they annihilated earlier this season in their first playoff game, and then in their second playoff game, they will be in Philadelphia either against Brock Purdy or against a team they are very familiar with. They feel great about how the bracket has fallen. Next, hot shooter. Not like a hot shooter in basketball, a hot shooter like in craps, where it's all luck, but you got to keep going with it. The Bengals' turnover luck at some point will turn. They hope it is not this week against Buffalo, and even if it does turn, Buffalo will probably turn it right back with Josh Allen to them. The Bengals, and if it does turn, luckily for them, they have, in my humble opinion, the best quarterback-wide receiver combo in all of the football with Burrow and Chase, and they have pedigree of being able to go on the road and win tough playoff games. Devastating versatility.
Bengals are dangerous.
Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel on the field.
Yeah.
You can have
you can't plan for the Niners offense because they have so much shit they can do.
You can wait and see what personnel the defense puts out there.
You have to basically just tell your defense to play out of their minds. You have to play out of your minds today.
Out there, we're going to spread you out. And then if none of that works, you have the best defense in all of football. That's devastating versatility. And then finally, the top of the tiers, as they were at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the year, please unveil it. The committee told you so. They warned you. And you scoffed and you said the committee, the chairman emeritus of the committee, was being biased. And then wouldn't you know it, they are the Vegas Super Bowl favorites. They finished with the league's MVP. They finished with the league's best record. They finished with maybe a top 3 candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year in Travis Kelce, the league's MVP, and the playoffs once again go through Arrowhead. And by the way, they're the healthiest they've been all year. Seems like an overwhelming favorite. So there it is. Chris Broussard.
Solid.
The committee's top 2 to start the season is the top 2 as we approach the end of the season.
Shame on you, Nick.
Shame on you. He wants the Bills to be higher.
Sunday, February 12th, live on Fox.
I think it's a good list.
For what?
Shame on
what?
He's got Chiefs, then Niners, then the Bengals, then the Eagles. He has the Bills and Cowboys in their own tier, and then he has the Giants and Jags in their own tier below it. And then he has the Ravens and Chargers in a tier below that together. Should be playing tier.
The Chiefs, look, I'm not going to sit here and act like they don't have a great shot. Chiefs, Bills, Bengals are all right there. So we'll see who wins this battle royal between those two.
They can only beat me with coolers and aces, but they're doing it every day, every time.
Number one,
to the tune of me losing money.
The hottest team in the league, okay? They got a little 5-game win streak with one playoff opponent. All right, and you talked about, the Bengals or who it was, the Bills, some baffling games at the end of the season. Well, they have the same record as the Chiefs, 14-3, and the Chiefs struggled with Denver and struggled with Houston. So let's not act like they were just running through everybody. All right, Cincinnati's got a 9-game win streak against Buffalo, 8-game win streak, San Francisco, 11-game win streak, and all 3 of those teams have beaten multiple playoff teams in their win streak. Secondly, they aren't the most balanced team. Their defense gave up 33 touchdown passes this year. That's the most in the league. So obviously Mahomes is fantastic, but the defense a bit leaky. And third, the head-to-head, I get it. It's not the standings, but apparently it's not head-to-head either. Because Buffalo beat Kansas City. Cincinnati beat Kansas City head-to-head.
Before I go, who would you have at the top?
Not Kansas City.
Who would it be?
That's my point. You can put San Francisco up there if you want.
But I thought head-to-head mattered.
Yeah, so put Buffalo and Cincinnati ahead of Kansas City.
Okay, but I'm just very confused because you said San Francisco. Go ahead.
My point is this, though. Kansas City should not be number 1. And Wilds, what did Buffalo do when they went to Kansas City?
I can't,
They slept in their bed.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
They raided the refrigerator and they used their toothbrush.
Oh, yeah.
So this
head-to-head when they went to Kansas City.
I can't,
They slept in their bed.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
They raided the refrigerator and they used their toothbrush.
Oh, yeah.
So this
head-to-head matters.
Okay, head-to-head matters.
So put Buffalo and Cincinnati ahead of San Francisco. You just can't have Kansas
so you would
City
have
number
Kansas
1.
City 4th on your tiers, which
fine.
is why you don't have them. Kansas City, the reason San Francisco doesn't have a 12-game winning streak, has an 11-game winning streak, is because Kansas City went there and beat them by 3 touchdowns.
Okay, that's
and as
good.
far as beating
So
opponents,
head-to-head matters.
no team in the league this year had more victories over playoff teams than, let me check real quick. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs had a tough schedule this year,
They
too,
also have
right?
the best record and the best player in home field. So it seems like they should be the Vegas favorites. Let me check. They are, so they're top of the tier. Stink, go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go to Philadelphia because I just think I think they are way too low. So what is when you talk about team? and you
Schlereth.
talk about championship caliber.
Schlereth is a former lineman, right? Offensive lineman. Mark Schlereth. Yeah, he played guard. So what Schlereth is going to say is you're underrating the Eagles because Schlereth is going to stick up for the lineman here because he was a lineman. Schlereth's going to say you're worried about Jalen Hurts being hurt, but the linemen are going to do their job.
What do you have to have? Just a great quarterback?
No.
No, you got to have a great team, right? You got to have a great defense, great all. Let's look at the great defense. Let's look at the defensive statistics. Let's look at sack numbers because everybody wants to go
The
after
Eagles are good
how
on the
many
offensive
sacks.
and defensive
Who
line,
led
right?
the league
Pretty good.
in pressures on the quarterback and sacks this season? Oh, there they are right there. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
Okay,
but the
what's
Giants will be ready for
standard
that.
For great offense.
They're going to run.
What? Hey, can you find yourself 400 yards? I just talked to Tom Brady about it. He goes,
See, the Giants just threw the ball a bunch against the Vikings, and the Giants threw the ball a bunch against the Vikings at the end of the regular season as well. But I have a feeling that this game against the Eagles, the Giants are going to do a lot of running. Because they're up against a better defense, they don't want Daniel Jones to drop. They don't want Daniel Jones to drop back 40 times and have the Eagles defense have their way with him. They don't want to do that. They're going to want to run it, and they're also going to want to run it to keep the Eagles offense off the field. So there's just so many reasons for the Giants to want to run it. I see a lot of Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley running the ball and Matt Breida, and they're not going to know who they're giving the ball to. It's going to be a lot of misdirection. Maybe they'll hand it off to a wide receiver on an end around or something to mix it up. But they're going to do a lot of running, I think. I think it's going to be way different than the Vikings game.
and yet where are they on the fourth?
They're fourth.
Fourth on the perfect bracket, fourth?
Yeah.
Should they not be higher than fourth? They clearly the best record, the best. I mean, look, go on and on and on it goes, and they lost a couple of games late.
Yeah, it's a big weekend for the NFL. Divisional round playoffs is always a great weekend. 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. And then you know who the final 4 teams are after the weekend. There's 4 great games. It's always good.
No, you're not convinced they're going to have the same start, that level. I mean, Jalen Hurts will be there, but you seem a little anxious that he's not going to be the Jalen Hurts from a month ago.
Trust me, I am a little anxious about that. I am a little.
I got to tell you, Wild.
This is not. You guys have underperformed. It's playoff time. It's playoff tier.
I thought I had some
No,
good
you
facts.
fell into a bear trap of like head-to-head matters. Put the 49ers. I was like, oh my gosh. I was trying to edit it out on the fly. I was like, let's go. And you were picking the Giants over the Eagles. Like earlier in the show.
No, I didn't pick the Giants. I said
On the verge.
No.
You were on the verge.
Wild.
My
Say-
goodness. All right. Gosh darn it. I think the Cowboys are being disrespected.
Oh.
Here's why. First of all, Micah Parsons back.
Wilds is always like the closer who sets them all straight.
Smackdown. 10 pressures on Tom Brady.
Show is so
3
good.
Press conferences gave us some good content. He said he was going to do something. He did it. Shout out to Micah Parsons. Reason number 2, Dak's back. Oh, Dak's throwing interceptions. Okay.
This guy's been playing every hand.
And when he was throwing interceptions, he was 5-2 in those 7 games. Here's his numbers. Can you reveal them? Here they come. Completion
whatever.
percentage, fantastic. Total yards, we added up as rushing yards. He had 7 rushing attempts, the most all year. So maybe he's doing a little more running.
that.
Total touchdowns, 5, fantastic. 0
It's a
turnovers.
perfect game.
Yeah, perfect game.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring him up. Guess who else is back? Mike McCarthy. Oh, Mike McCarthy. He's got Sean Payton breathing down his neck. Nope, he's back. And
game's
guess what?
stupid.
Broke out a little Kirk Cousins style.
I hate this
chain,
game.
Celebrating. He said, I think he was doing he was in between doing the gritty and some other dance. I forgot what it was. Not great dancing, but I think that's a sign of a guy with job security.
Right. Next week.
Can they go into
may
San
throw
Francisco?
It 3 yards on 4th and 8. Let's see McCarthy.
Can they go into San Francisco and win?
You
I'm not
Aussies
there.
with it in your
Also, I
opinions
don't
on
care
people's
because
voices
here,
all the time.
Snapshot in time.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You know what? Because I had San Francisco before the playoffs and right.
And when y'all sound the way that you sound, too.
So Kevin Wildes, unlike your compatriots, You make a compelling,
No.
great argument.
No.
Well, and you know what? I don't know if we can show the tears again. Let's go ahead and bump the Cowboys up.
You know what?
I was hesitant to put the
You're welcome,
Cowboys
Bo.
by themselves,
Wait,
aside from the Bills, because I was like, oh, Nick hates the Bills. But the committee was thinking something similar. So you know what? We're just going to put overhyped as its own thing, underhyped as its own thing. So the Cowboys are right there beneath the Eagles, above Buffalo. Kevin Wilds, great work.
You know,
I'm glad you saved that segment.
That's total recency bias. You have one game, and I've got a full season where they're the best at the two.
Snapshot in time.
Also, the Tom Brady thing, we saw that.
Yeah,
you know,
pick
you that got name up deducted you for just that.
You got to pick
I
that
was
up.
just talking to Tom Brady, and he told me, look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Brady, speaking of, your buddy. Did he say anything about going back to the
No, but he stared deeply into my eyes.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show.
One hour ago. Okay, maybe we didn't watch this.
Get in the groove with up to 6% cash back at your favorite retailers. The U.S. Bank Shopper Cash Rewards Visa Signature Card rewards all your moves. The Shopper Cash Rewards Card, your one card for everywhere.
The Andy Reid. That's pretty cool. I'm glad.
It is cool. I'm very glad. I mean,
Little Birdie told me that Andy Reid requested you.
That's what I heard. It's awesome. I mean,
I want to talk to him.
Yeah, I want to set him straight. He said this about my offense last year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell him he's wrong.
Oh yeah, it's true. It could be a bad thing.
It could be a bad
Who
thing
knows?
too. I'm going to the principal's office. I love Andy Reid. The interactions I've always had with him have been phenomenal. You know, he just couldn't be a nicer guy. Loves talking ball. I'm excited to interview him, pick his brain a little bit. Hopefully get to see a little practice.
Oh, he doesn't get to interview Mahomes. He's interviewing Reid.
Practice, that'll be cool.
He wanted to interview Mahomes.
I'm excited to go out
Wait, is he interviewing Mahomes?
Hopefully get to see a little
Plane, go talk to Andy Reid. That's pretty cool. I'm glad.
It is cool. I'm very glad.
Just he wanted to interview Mahomes.
Now to our game that we will see here on NBC. Chris is about to hop on a plane, go talk to Andy Reid. That's pretty cool. I'm glad.
It is cool. I'm very glad. I mean,
Little Birdie told me that Andy Reid requested you.
That's what I heard. It's awesome. I mean,
I want to talk to him.
Yeah, I want to set him straight. He said this about my offense last year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell him he's wrong.
Oh yeah, it's true. It could be a bad thing.
It could be a bad
Who
thing
knows?
too. I'm going to the principal's office. I love Andy Reid. The interactions I've always had with him have been phenomenal. You know, he just couldn't be a nicer guy. Loves talking ball. I'm excited to interview him, pick his brain a little bit. Hopefully get to see a little practice, tomorrow. Get to watch the Magic Man at work in practice. That'll be cool in my home. So, yeah, I'm excited to go out
What
there.
are the things you want to find out the most from Andy Reid, you think? Like, what are you curious about?
Well,
Learn to get some
always
hot chick to
curious
interview
about his
Mahomes.
ability to
Sims
blend
doesn't get the gig.
personalities together. I think he's a magic man, right? Just even this year. Let's just think, Kadarius Toney, he's such a pain in the ass. And, Juju Smith-Schuster, all he worries about is dancing on the logo before the game. And right? And we don't hear a peep when they go there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's just like, hey, we're all having fun and we're winning games and everybody's happy, right? I think he's amazing at that. I'm dying. And this is definitely going to be part of the interview. It's just, the offense around Mahomes. Where did it come from? What was the jump-off point? Again, when that started in 2019, when did you start to go, wait, I could just have this guy go that way and this guy go that way and he'll throw it. This will be amazing. And, I think everybody in football was like, I don't know how they're reading these plays. What the hell? How did you come up with it? Those are some of the things I'm very intrigued by, let alone his magic touch of Mahomes is obviously coachable. Very coachable, and that can be rare for guys that are like him because they just go, wait, I'm awesome, so I'm gonna get it done. Don't worry, coach, I got it, right? But coachable, made the right adjustments from last year to this year. We talked about it a ton this year, right? Him playing by the book, being better in the pocket, mechanics are perfect, balls coming out of his hands, amazing. But how do you keep that blend of like, hey, let the system work for you, but I don't want to make you a robot and still be Patrick Mahomes and make magic happen?
Yeah.
Those are things I'm interested to hear him answer a little bit.
You going to ask him if he thinks they're better offensively without Tyreek Hill?
Ooh, 100%. I'm going there.
I know.
He'll give me some coach answer.
Yeah, but he'll probably want to talk up the players he does have.
I would think so. I would think so. And then of course, it gives more love to his coaches.
Yeah.
And, his quarterback to go, yeah, but they're good. And our coaches came up with the proper game plan. So maybe he will give me some something there.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to this game, too, because I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, all of a sudden, here they come. It's like my Detroit Lions, a team that's been bad for a long time. It's even better when they get good, because especially when there's a young, exciting player like Trevor Lawrence. But a lot of it will hinge on, can they slow down that offense from Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes. And so they played once before this regular season. It was a, 27-17 victory? Was that the final score?
Weird game.
It was a 20-0 game early. And then
could have been more than that. Could have been 30-0.
So let's start with this.
Then it could have been 20-17. Like, it was one of those games where I know we came in on a Monday and went, that was an annoying game from Kansas City, right? Where you go, they really never got stopped. They just got complacent. They drop a pass. They fumble, right? It wasn't like I was like, oh, my gosh. The Jaguars, they physically just were all over them, and their scheme was all over them.
Yeah.
It was like, they scored 27. If they were really on their game, they probably should have scored 41, maybe more.
Yeah, Mahomes threw for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. They ran for 155 on the ground. I mean, they almost had 500 yards of total offense.
That's what I'm saying.
In this game. So, can the Jaguars' defense slow them down? So let's take a look back. Week 10, they had to apply some pressure at times. They chose to, under pressure. This is what Mahomes did. He was 6 of 10. I was just 32% of the dropbacks.
And I don't even think that's
interception.
Blitz. I think that's just pressure.
Got it. Just pressure.
Yeah,
so
because
not even with the blitz.
I was going to say, they only blitzed them.
Pete.
I was going to say once, twice. I did not remember blitzes in the game.
So that was just getting pressure. When they didn't get pressure, he was 20 of 25, 259 yards, and all 4 of those touchdowns. Can they make him uncomfortable? Blitz or no blitz? And should they even blitz? What do you think? When you look back at that tape, it looked easy for the Chiefs. You've already said that. They probably should have scored more. So is it trouble time for the Jacksonville Jaguars
I
defense?
don't want to say trouble, but they pose some problems. There's no question they have to play it differently. Okay, that's the main headline. They can't go in with that game plan and go, oh, yeah. All right, so the first thing is to that graphic right there. Their front 4 just could not get there. So I do think they're going to have to figure out some ways to stress the protection out a little bit. Yeah, you've heard me say for a while now. I mean, the Chiefs are one of the best pass protecting O-lines in football. They got a left tackle that's phenomenal. They got arguably the best pass protecting guard in football in Tourney, right? We know the center's awesome. They're good across the board there. And I think that's a problem. So they're going to have to figure out some ways to, whether it's blitz 1, drop 1, blitz 2, whatever. They got to do something there.
Yeah.
Then
next gen stats.
Yeah.
Per Matt Casey.
Wow, 9s, limp, snap jam.
Okay. And then when you get into the coverage, they tried to play zone early on.
We get such tough spots, mates.
That's what they want to do. And they tried to do that.
I have 10 bigs to start the hand. Or it wasn't 2 limps, it was 1 limp.
They messed up, as we've talked about a lot with a lot
I don't think the sim would say to fold, but that's only if these guys are jamming enough hands, and like, they just never fucking are, you know? They're never jamming enough hands, at least at these stakes. Not a $10 buy-in. This guy's just gonna have jacks. But you know what? Some of these guys jam 2-7 off for fun. Oh yeah, he's got queens. See? This is the guy who's got queens.
And really, he probably had a chance at a few more as well.
I mean, I wanted to fold 9. You can see me like wanting to fold 9s, but it's one jammer after a limper, and I have 9s and 10 big blinds. I don't think that that's going to be a suggested fold. It's such a mindfuck because it's a fold if the guy's only going to have queens. I don't know who the guy is.
They have one of the best corners in football that nobody knows about. Campbell can match up with just about anybody. You know, and he's their one guy that they will go, hey, you play man, and we'll do this and that with this and over there. But I think this is one where they could do it across the board a little bit more. and play within that. And of course, yeah, you got to protect the crossers and all that. Again, we know.
Yeah.
And little pick plays. That was another thing. They went to the man-to-man, and then they got picked a few times. So now they got to see it, and hopefully they play it the right way. And again, this is a young team who's still learning rules and doing stuff that way. But the approach has certainly got to be different on that side of the ball.
We have seen some teams play man effectively versus.
Ugh,
I'm not
fuck
mistaken, right? It
this.
was the
No,
Sunday
you're
night
right.
I don't feel like playing anymore today.
It was like we were kind of
came away and we went, man, that might
We're
be the
like
first
strapping
game
the bottom of the fucking Iggy roll now.
Right? We were like,
I think I'm just gonna buy into this crazy eights.
Tyreek Hill here. Yeah. There have been some teams that have played that way against them, because he's become amazing at zone. It's just you can't be right. He's too good. He's too smart. He can buy just enough time to let the zone spread out a little bit more, and he picks it away there. So, that's going to be the interesting thing. Now, the interesting thing with the Chiefs, though, is it's on that matchup of their offense versus that was just when they were starting to really become a run team. They're better at running now than they were then.
The Chiefs.
Yeah. They're truly a pretty balanced, 60-40 pass run team now. Where this point of the year, I bet you it was still, 75-25.
This might have been the coming out party.
I think it was kind of the coming out party of like, wait, are they really going to get on the center here and put two tight ends and run the ball like this a little bit?
Yeah.
I remember they did it, Cohen, thinking like, well, why are they wasting their time? They know they're not going to really do this as the year goes on. And they did. And that's where they're going to pose some problems here for Jacksonville as well.
All right, so then it's on the shoulders of Trevor Lawrence, perhaps.
Thanks, Ricky.
Again,
What's up, man?
Figure out a way to get that offense cooking before they fall down 27-0, or like in this game, fall down 20-0. At least they've proven it.
Oh man, I could play a few more shitter games, but
how do they try to keep up point-wise, offensively?
I'm just like not really in the mood to play in general.
Pretty good.
No, I'm not convinced they can run. I'm not convinced.
I mean, I don't have to play this tournament either.
You heard me last week. Their big O-line, I think, posed some problems for the Chargers D-line, right? I think we saw that in the second half.
I'm ready for some Dragon Quest 11.
120 last week.
That's how I feel.
Even in the second half, they still smashed it up in there, and he was getting big runs. Kansas City's a different animal there. Kansas City, I think their D-line is a tough matchup for Jacksonville because they're like one of those rare teams that has size, but they're 340-pound guys, like also the most athletic guy on the defense, right?
Yeah.
Or any defense. He's one of those guys. You're like, is he really 340 and can move like that? So I do think it's going to come down to Trevor Lawrence and his ability to throw the football. And I think they're going to have to attack them a little bit more this time around.
I mean, I'd rather just play this from the beginning tomorrow or something, Like, why am I getting the max late reg right now?
He's a little late. They batted a ball down. There was a few other times where they got in some formations and Spagnuolo came up with the right blitz, and he had to get the ball out quicker than he wanted to, and you go, ooh, there's going to be something there. I think the big thing is, they let Kansas City, like we've talked about with other teams sometimes, they never backed them off. They let them play downhill, and it was screens and speed sweeps and little wide receiver short passes and all that. And Kansas City just went, all over it, and they were great at it. The other aspect I think that has to change.
I don't fucking know why, but for some reason I want to buy into this, so I'm just gonna buy into this.
People are closer to the offensive line, condensed formations,
maybe I should just wait for tomorrow.
And all that, which is what they do.
I don't know what to say.
It can be scary against a guy like Spags, right? Just think about
whatever, we'll get in there. For some reason, I'm feeling like I should buy in, so maybe that means we're gonna ship it.
Left and my tight end to the right, right? Hey, there's all these guys covering over here.
Something's wanting me to buy in.
They're close. You can't tell who's blitzing, right? Safety can play back over the top, and you go, oh, it looks like two-man. I think I'm okay.
See what I mean? You get an ace right away.
45, blue, 45,
it's like
Sam,
fucking Destiny and
oh, wait, two guys are coming off the edge, and that safety's coming down, and the linebacker who's up in the A-gap is cheated and going to run over there, and now I'm screwed in my protection. And I didn't
Destiny
have
with
enough time to see it
A6.
develop because we were so condensed and it was right there. I'd be a little scared with that.
Guy started the hand with less than
We're
5
gonna
bigs.
spread out by the sideline. If that guy's blitzing, he's got to run a marathon.
He's got to run a marathon, and you see it as a quarterback because it's like he has to show it.
Destiny,
He's not gonna
baby.
get here in time. If he wants to blitz out there,
Fuck
fine,
yeah.
blitz. I'll still have enough time to take 5 steps and throw a ball down the field.
Yeah.
Right? So those defenses know
Sick
that.
decision.
Oh, wait, I got to start getting in there if I want to actually get there. Oh, wait, I see it. Hey, check to the screen. Check to the max protect, whatever. And he does have the freedom to do that. We saw him throw that long touchdown to Zay Jones against the Chargers. And That would be one thing I would say they need to adjust.
So you do think, though, that if the Jaguars just look at this tape and go, okay, this is how they played us, this is how we can beat it, they might miss a few things that have changed with the Chiefs' defense since then, too. I did note that in your
right.
notes here.
Right. The Chiefs were a little bit, that was like, we had talked about, I think a week or two before that, where it was like, it was either
We had the
blitz
best
or
hand.
the crazy disguise, make it
there
look
you
like
go.
blitz, and we dropped the Tampa 2, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was one of the first
Really
games where
glad
they
I decided to
go,
play that
"Hey,
one.
I think our young guys can, hey, let's double a guy here.
All right, you guys, I'm done with this poker shit for today. We lose $100 or something. It says we cashed 1 tournament. I feel like we cashed 2 tournaments. Anyway, it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. We might play a few of those birds tomorrow. We'll see. But, yeah, I'm kind of excited for the Dragon Quest grind. I feel like we usually play this game on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are kind of boring. I think it's Dragon Quest 11 time. This game, and we're like fucking 150 hours into this game. It won't end, but we don't mind because it's so freaking good. But, yeah, JRPG. We're going to reboot the stream, put it on no delay. And, yeah, like, we're 150 hours into this game or some shit. It's actually getting pretty out of control. We're taking notes and shit on the game and trying to complete all the side quests we can and stuff before we beat it. It's a pretty fun-ass game. Thanks for hanging out today, you guys. We got close to 30K 2 days ago, close to 20K yesterday. Poker's been tough. We're in a pretty big rut, and it's been this way for a while, but we're going to get ourselves out of it. So, that's the good news. And, like, I'm just excited to keep getting better at the game, learning more about the game. I definitely feel like I'm starting to feel beat when I have 9s and feel beat when I have jacks and stuff when we're beat. And if we could just really know, take that next step into making those folds maybe and just different spots where we just always feel like it's a certain way. We should start believing in those reads and stuff maybe. I don't know. We'll keep researching stuff. But alright guys, Dragon Quest, I'm pretty hyped for this shit. This freaking game, it just keeps getting better and better. And you find different different gear now, and then you can like change your whole character builder to like the other skills to try to make your character stronger and shit. Anyway, I'm sounding happy to be done with poker and getting ready to play games because it must be kind of what I was in the mood for today anyway. Although I do feel like I played as best as I could in those poker games. I gave it my best shot. I wanted it to work out today, but just didn't go our way. All right, y'all. We back with Dragon Quest. Peace out.